लिए अपना गोश्त खाते हैं, आप उनको सजा दे रहे हैं। ये दौलतमंदों की सरकार है ये, और आप तो संविधान के खिलाफ हैं।
It's an ongoing and regular process every year during Ganesh Chaturthi and certain other festivals. They are not asking to stop eating meat. Those who are as per the Article 25, they can have it, but the sale is banned on that day. Why the Congress they don't have any issues today to raise, and they are only blowing these kind of issues and then blame BJP for polarizing the things. This is very absurd. This is ongoing. Every year they issue this order. Why to make unnecessarily hue and cry about this BBMP order?
Other stories that made headlines ahead of Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Man's visit to Jalandhar. Pro-Khalistan slogans on banners were seen written on the posters of Chief Minister. Civic apathy claims yet another life, this time in Thane, Maharashtra. A young boy riding a two-wheeler falls off a bike due to a pothole, following which he was crushed to death by a truck. Supreme Court has issued notice to UP government on a bail plea filed by Kerala-based journalist Siddique Kappan. Kappan was arrested in October 2020 while he was on his way to meet Hathras gang rape victims' family. A day after the massive demolition of Noida's Twin Towers, the cleaning operation is still underway outside various housing societies. The Indian rupee slipped 31 paisa against US dollar, slipping to an all-time low of 80.15 after US Federal Reserve signaled more interest rate hikes ahead. Mumbai police have recorded the statement of actor Ranveer Singh in a case registered against him over his nude photo shoot for a magazine. A street in Canada has been named after Grammy Award winner music composer A.R. Rahman. Music composer tweeted on how he was humbled by this gesture. 5 members of a family were killed after a major landslide hit their house in Idukki district in heavy rains that continued to pound many hilly areas of Kerala. Heavy rains lashed several parts of Tumkuru district in Karnataka. According to locals, more than 22 houses were destroyed. Large amounts of explosives have been recovered from Gonda district in Uttar Pradesh. 3 people have been arrested. And that's all we had for you in this broadcast. Up next, Rahul Shankar with the day's biggest debates.
Thanks indeed, Priya. Yes, as always, viewers, the biggest story on India up front. Viewers, we are a religiously diverse nation. There is little room for parochialism. Our festivals spill out beyond the privacy of our homes into our streets and public spaces. The Upanishads talk of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which roughly translates into the world is a family. As you can see, on Eid, for instance, hundreds of faithful are routinely allowed to encroach, as it were, on public land. It's a one-time annual exemption, and everyone puts up with it. Even when certain people have objected, state administrations and the courts have always allowed the faithful to exercise their right to prayer. So it came as no surprise when the Karnataka High Court today invoked our civilizational values to permit the state government to allow Hindu groups to hold Ganesh Puja celebrations in a Maidan near a mosque in Bengaluru. The High Court emphatically emphasized India's tolerant outlook towards culture and tradition as a reason for its decision. Let me quote out of the High Court order, which is here in my hand. It goes on to say, viewers, that India has religious, linguistic, regional or sectional diversities. Indian society comprises these diversities. The Constitution of India itself fosters brotherhood amongst various sections of the society. Religious toleration is the characteristic of Indian civilization. The state therefore is permitted to decide on land use for religious and cultural events. We therefore at this stage, in the peculiar facts of the case, modify the interim order dated 25/8/2022 and permit the state government to consider and pass appropriate orders on applications received by the Deputy Commissioner seeking use of the land in question for holding religious and cultural activities for a limited period from 31 of August onwards, that is, in 2 days. But viewers, the Waqf Board has filed a plea against the High Court's order in the Supreme Court. The Waqf says that the Maidan belongs to it, as it is an Idgah, and it has been treated as one for decades altogether. The Waqf Board's contentions in opposing Ganesh Chaturthi Puja ordered by the High Court on this Maidan is that it will lead to religious tension. Unnecessarily religious tension will be created. Muslim rituals have been performed here for 60 years. Now viewers, this is a strange happenstance because the facts are slightly different. While the Waqf has stated claim on the land, the court hasn't ruled in its favor. This is disputed land. In fact, the matter is pending in the court. For the Waqf, therefore, to contest the High Court's order reeks of inflexibility and parochialism, especially when the High Court has made it clear that the land must be utilized for Republic Day and Independence Day celebrations. It must be also open for the public as a playground, and has only allowed the Muslims to use the land to celebrate Ramzan and Bakrid. So just for very limited purpose. Rest of the year, it is a playground. As we speak, a war of words has broken out among the stakeholders. Listen in.
मुझे लगता है ऐसा नहीं होगा। गणेश फेस्टिवल बहुत जबरदस्ती से हर जगह में होगा। कोर्ट न्याय दिया है, सभी कोर्ट का न्याय पालन करने का जरूरत है। हम भी पालन करेंगे, वक्फ बोर्ड भी पालन करेंगे।
See, it is a very, very sensitive issue. We all know that Idgah was there for last, as a child I've been seeing Idgah, it is there for last 40, 50, 60 years. And right now the title of Idgah, whether it belongs to Waqf board or it belongs to the revenue department, it belongs to BBMP, it is absolutely unsure. So Waqf board has absolutely all the right to go to the court. But however, we would like to say that this has to be resolved at a personal level. Both the communities have to come forward.
Now viewers, what can this land be used for? This is not any one community's land. As you can see, there are people using it as a playground. The state government BBMP is permitted to celebrate I-Day and Republic Day. This was the 25th of August High Court order. Land can be continued to be used as a playground. Continued to be used. Fundamental, viewers. And Muslims can offer prayers on Ramzan and Bakrid, but not on other days. So this has not been reserved for one community. The government on the 26th sought permission to permit religious cultural activities on a temporary basis, saying that, look, we're a plural society. There are other denominations that want to celebrate their festivities. So it should be also allowed, extended to these denominations to use it. And it is on the basis of that that the state was permitted to allow religious or cultural festivities on an order that was passed yesterday. Today, viewers, 2 days ago, in fact, Friday. Today, the Supreme Court has admitted a plea by the Waqf Board to appeal against the High Court order allowing Chaturthi. Let's open this up, viewers. Let's open this up. And I want to keep front and center the pictures that we opened this show with. Those are the pictures. The Muharram on the roads is acceptable. Ganesh Puja at a Maidan is now unacceptable, even though the court has come out and backed this demand from Hindu groups. So my basic question today is a simple one to Abdul Razak Khan. When the court has itself cited India's principle of religious toleration as a reason for passing an order, isn't a challenge by the Waqf board a direct attempt to undermine Sabka Saath, pluralism, brotherhood? What's the issue, Mr. Khan? You have been given an exemption. It's not your land. The court has said very clearly this is an open playground.
It is, it was, and it will always be our land. Now, if the BBMP trying to cunningly take away our land from us, we will not keep quiet. If the Waqf board fails, the Central Muslim Association will stand up for this, who are the custodians of the land right from centuries together. You have to first look at the Supreme Court verdict of 1964, which very clearly mentions that the corporation should not interfere or should not step on this land. The issue
who said
to this land
who said this? Excuse me, Mr. Khan, is this the same kind of rhetorical? No, 1 minute. Is this the same? 1 minute, sir.
You are calling this a public property.
Sir, it is mentioned in the order. Should I read out the order to you again?
Not.
Let me read it out to you.
No.
No, why not? Let me read it out to you.
You should read out the 64 verdict.
My dear friend,
the Supreme Court.
This is today, the interim order. It's a dispute. Now, look, you are very welcome rhetorically to say that this was, is, and will always be, just like you did in the case of the Babri Masjid dispute. And we know how that ended. So, 1 second, Mr. Razak. As of today, please allow me.
Nowhere related to
allow me,
any
sir.
Other community.
Allow me, Mr. Khan. Allow me. Allow me. Please allow me. I'm just stating the facts. Will you just answer yes or no? Is there a dispute right now over this land? Yes or no?
Absolutely no.
Absolutely.
It is the
okay.
cunningness
Now just hang on.
Which has given
viewers,
to the extremist element,
here,
the fringe element,
please.
anti-social element.
Don't call the court a fringe element, sir, in this. The court has taken a studied view, and let me quote.
I'm not calling the court
allow
a
me,
fringe
sir.
element. I'm talking that the
allow
government,
me. Allow me.
Government has given in.
Allow me. Judgments can be challenged. Nothing is written in stone. You yourself have said so many times on this show. Bilkis Bano, for example. Shall I draw your attention? It can be challenged. No problems. So hang on. Viewers, on page 3, para 6, this is what the court says. He says there's no dispute. What does the court say? It appears that there is a dispute with regard to title of the property in question. Which is this property? It's the Idgah Maidan. It is also noteworthy that the respondent number 1 against the order impugned in writ petition dated 6/8/22 passed by the Joint Commissioner BBMP had approached the Waqf Tribunal along with an application seeking an ad interim relief. The Waqf Tribunal, by an order dated 12/8/2022, 12th August, issued emergent notice on the main application as well as the IA seeking ad interim order and made the notice returnable by 2/9, 2nd September. However, the respondent number 1 filed a memo on 17/8 and withdrew the aforesaid proceeding, and thereafter the writ petition was filed seeking relief of quashment of order 6/8/2022. Several instances of back and forth in court seeking dates by all communities concerned. The controversy is pending adjudication before the learned single judge. The Indian society comprises religious, linguistic, regional or sectional diversities. Here it is, viewers, pending adjudication before the learned single judge. Now, Mr. Khan, are you saying that the court has got subsumed
Can I answer?
by the fringe elements or the capriciousness of the BBMP?
Rahul,
It's rather preposterous.
Rahul, this case dates back to 1952. The corporation had wanted to...
Sir, the Ram Janam Bhoomi, I'm sorry I'm invoking it,
Abdul Wajid objected to this.
went back
We went to
180
the court,
years.
And from then on, right from the Munsif Court, the Civil
It doesn't
Court,
matter, sir.
Sessions
The
Court,
point
Mysore
is,
High Court,
today
Karnataka
the
High Court, and
matter is
Supreme
pending
Court
for
has turned back the
adjudication, and you
corporation.
have to
They
accept
have
this.
dismissed their petition.
Sir, The matter
They have
is...
dismissed the corporation's petition.
Sir,
Today the corporation...
Mr. Khan, the court of this country, the High Court has permitted, Mr. Khan, the High Court has permitted on this playground which is being used, it's a disputed property, but as of today, it is predominantly to be used as a playground. It doesn't belong to X or Y.
I don't know with what wisdom did the two-judge bench...
It doesn't matter. You can challenge the wisdom. You can go ahead and challenge the wisdom, but Mr. Khan, please, be reasonable.
Harmony of the state.
Be reasonable.
We are doing it.
Are you accusing the court of undermining...
Never a playground.
Okay, look. Are you undermining the court authority?
The court has made a mockery of the Supreme Court judgment of 1964.
Okay, let me bring in another advocate and Sanju Verma. They're both raising their hands. Let me first go across to the BJP. Sanju Verma is here with us. Tausif Ahmed is also raising his hand. I'll come to all of you gentlemen. Let me begin first with Sanju Verma of the BJP. You're being accused of being part of this fringe hysteria to try and tweeze out land that belongs to the Muslims and make it contentious and undermine the peace. How do you respond to this, Sanju Verma? And I want to bring in Ishkaran Bhandari as a lawyer on this issue also. Yes.
Rahul, I'll just quickly, for the benefit of your audience, tell you that there is one key judgment here that came out on the 25th of August, barely a couple of days back, where the single judge bench said that status quo has to be maintained as far as the Idgah Maidan in Chamarajpet is concerned. But after the Karnataka state government, led by Basavaraj Bommai, who is the chief minister, said that let the Idgah Maidan be used for Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations, thereafter the two-judge bench said, okay, status quo need not be maintained and Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations can be held at the Idgah Maidan in the larger interests of diversity. Now the problem is that Karnataka Waqf Board came in and said that Idgah Maidan is a Waqf property and how can you allow Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations here? So my simple point is only this. While Ishkaran Bhandari, being the legal expert, will give the legal opinion, my simple point is this. Is this a Karnataka Waqf Board property? That claim itself has been completely demolished by the Revenue Minister of Karnataka, Mr. R. Asoka, who clearly said, A, this is not a Waqf Board property. B, this property belongs to the Karnataka State Revenue Department. C, since it is a property that belongs to the Karnataka State Revenue Department, the Karnataka government is well within its right to ensure that Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations are held here. And last but not the least, even if for a hypothetical moment you assume that this is a Karnataka Waqf Board property, it does not belong to the BBMP, it does not belong to the Revenue Department, it is a Waqf Board property. Even if you assume that, there is a judgment dated as recently as February 2022, Andhra Pradesh Waqf Board versus the state of Andhra Pradesh, where the judgment came out that Waqf should be considered a state in itself under Article 12. And if the relevant state government decides that the so-called Waqf property can be used for any other thing apart from the religious or charitable measures undertaken by the Waqf, then the state government's final writ should prevail, which basically means that at the end of the day, it is the concerned state government which will decide the usage of a particular Waqf property.
Okay. Let's come back to a more rhetorical question.
Why do you want to force your faith upon mine?
Mr. Khan, 1 minute.
Why do you want to install a
Mr. Khan, please ask that question, and you are posing that question in the Supreme Court.
As if there is no other place.
Mr. Khan, please, you are doing so. You and your fellow co-travelers in the Waqf are moving the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going to give you a hearing. Isn't it? Yes or no? Matter is coming up, right?
Why is this issue being made a communal issue?
You're making it a communal issue by being parochial. The court has invoked. In fact, if anything, on page 7. 1 minute, and I want to bring in Ishkaran Bhandari. Sir, you're making it communal. You're making it about mine versus yours. Now, hang on. Let me quote this out to you.
It is the government.
Sir, page 4, para 7. The controversy is pending adjudication before the learned single judge. The Indian society comprises religious, linguistic, regional or sectional diversities. The Constitution of India itself fosters brotherhood among various sections of the society. The principle of religious toleration is the characteristic of Indian civilization. I have summed it up in a few words, taken from the Upanishads. I told you those words. We therefore at this stage, in the particular facts of the case, modify the interim order dated 25/8/2022. In that order, this land was reserved for 3 kinds of activities, viewers. Independence Day celebrations, Republic Day celebrations, and on certain days of the year, not every day, Bakar Eid celebrations and Ramzan. And on all the other days of the year, it is to be used as a playground. Now, after the challenge to the 25th August 2022 order, on the 26th, the court came out and said very clearly that we append it. We also allow the state to give it out for cultural events because it would be unfair, viewers. And one would have thought that our brothers in the Waqf would have taken it in principle and said, okay, in the furtherance of brother, it's only 1 or 2 or 3 days. After all, as I'm going to show you pictures, namaz is allowed on the streets, sometimes causing huge amount of breakdown, interruption of the normal flow of traffic, etc. on holy days. What's the big deal?
Exactly.
It's tolerated, Mr. Ishkaran Bhandari. So the principle of equity,
Yes.
I'm sure, is being held up in the larger interest of fostering brotherhood amongst various sections of society. Not my words, the High Court's words. What's the problem here?
Rahul, before coming to the High Court judgment, I'm sorry, there is a bit of an echo, if you can correct it.
Yeah.
But Rahul, let us be clear on one point of principle. Railway tracks, railway platform does not belong to any one community. It is public property. Highways don't belong to any one community. It is public property. And public grounds don't belong to any one community. It is public property. Those statements of the former Prime Minister that one particular community has the first right on resources of this nation has been thoroughly rejected by the people of this country, by the courts of this country. So let us be very clear on this. In Gurgaon, we have a dispute that we have a fundamental right to public grounds and that we will do our religious prayers in those public grounds. And the administration has you can then
give certain designated sites. So please see the difference between the stand in Gurgaon and the stand here. And now let us come to this. What has the court held? It is a disputed question of title. It is not clear whom the title belongs to. The single judge says you use it for the secular functions or you use it for the state functions, Republic Day, Independence Day, etc. Second, you use it for playground because it's a playground. Third, it gives the exception that on certain days Muslims may use it for certain defined functions. The government goes to the High Court saying, why only certain socio-cultural religious functions be allowed if the title is in dispute, and that the High Court agrees with, says yes, it does not stop the single judge's order which allowed Ramzan and Bakrid and other things, but it also says state government can allow other appropriate religious cultural functions. So it balances the equity. That's all it does in a disputed property title case. Now, people who have a problem with this, it is a Waqf property, it will permanently be a Waqf property. Those were the same people using the same arguments in Ram Mandir. Baba, आपके बोलने से आपकी property नहीं हो जाएगी. Title prove करोगे कोर्ट में, तब आपकी property होगी.
Okay.
Sir, even if you consider it to be encroached by the Muslims, there is a law passed by the Karnataka Assembly in 2021, September, that protects the Muslim places of worship. It's the Places of Worship Act.
Let me finish my point.
Sir, Places of Worship Act of 2021, September, taken up by Karnataka Assembly, defines any religious place belonging to one religious
I need to finish my point.
Okay, Mr. Khan, why are you heckling him? You can respond to him, please. Okay, Mr. Khan, Mr. Khan, you can respond to him. Don't heckle him. There are other two also speakers waiting their turn, and they're being very disciplined. So respect that also.
Rahul, let us be clear. Let me finish. Let us be very clear. आपके बोलने से आपकी property नहीं बन जाती. I recently saw a news item. Somebody saying I'm descendant of Mughals. लाल किला मेरा है. आपकी ये बोलने से नहीं बन जाएगी. Prove it in court. Then you will get released. Until then, it is public property which public will enjoy as per the orders of the government.
My question is, Mr. Tausif Ahmed, Tausif Bhai, my question is very simple. The court has said, look, in the interest of brotherhood, inter-community relations, which is stressed in our constitution, which fosters brotherhood amongst various sections of the society. In that interest, let it go. Why are you making it such an issue? Is it because there are elections coming up and certain vested interests want to polarize this? And therefore, you hope, the Congress party, for instance, and others, JDS, etc., hope that they can use this to sort of create some sort of, I don't know, polarization or some sort of a division. So, I mean, the court has come out and said, look, we allow on 2 or 3 days of the year Bakar Eid prayers. In the interest of equity, in the interest of plurality, diversity, etc., let the Hindus also do their thing. It's after all a playground as of today. It's not anyone's property. Why not?
No.
Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb ka kya hua?
Yes, Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb, I'll come to that. First, let us understand what is Waqf property. A Waqf property are those properties which have been dedicated by the erstwhile owners, Muslim owners. Those lands have been dedicated in the name of Allah for religious and charitable purposes. Therefore, we see it has become a Eidgah, Eid Namazah performed there, and then it remains a playground for the children to play. That is the purpose, and it is dedicated in the name of Allah. Now, if we are talking about equity, and why I've gone to this, you see, this is a case of government body trying to illegally grab the land meant for the welfare of one community. Let us say if there is a Shiva temple in one place and a Krishna devotee comes and says, let us share this Shiva temple. For 6 months we will worship Shiva, and for the remaining 6 months we will worship Krishna ji. Will the Shiva devotees agree to that? No. They will say, let us build another temple. So once the land is dedicated in the name of Allah for charitable and religious purposes, it today cannot, in fact, it goes against the interest of equity and plurality and brotherhood when the government or through the medium of
are you accusing the courts
cases
of
trying to
undermining
force the people?
No, 1 second. Are you accusing the courts of... Okay, so let me ask you,
yes,
Mr. Ahmed.
I'm accusing the government body.
Mr. Ahmed, which government body are you talking about? Are you... No, 1 second. 1 second. This is a court order. The government has
belongs to Waqf.
Allow me, sir. Allow me. Right now...
Revenue Department wants to appropriate it.
Paragraph 7, page 4 says, controversy is pending adjudication before the... What does this mean, Mr. Bhandari?
Yes, exactly right. I don't... deliberate attempt to confuse the audience. ये वक्त प्रॉपर्टी है, ये वक्त
आपके बोलने से नहीं बन जाएगी, आपको साबित करनी पड़ेगी कोर्ट में, तभी आपकी बनेगी. I started by saying, 1 second, let me finish the point. Let me finish the point. You will have to prove you have title to it before you start with that point. The court has noted. Arey Baba, we will talk about the law which is applicable in India and the High Court judgments which are applicable in India. Laws of Waqf which are applicable in India. Not you.
Which country you live in?
Not you who will decide what law you will apply. Arey, I say Waqf law, how it is applicable in India. That is how you will see it. That's how High Court will apply it.
What rubbish? This is Hyde.
What is this?
This is Hyde. Rahul, this is Hyde.
Waqf law
being an advocate, he says Waqf law is not applicable.
Okay, gentlemen, why?
This is Hyde.
Rahul,
Why are you shouting over each other? Calm down.
Can I finish
Mr.
my
Ahmed,
point?
let him finish. You can rebut him.
Talking rubbish on TV.
One second.
Says Waqf law does not apply in India.
Mr. Ahmed,
Even if India has become Hindu Rashtra,
listen to him
the
first.
law is still in force.
Mr. Ahmed, why are you getting so excited? Just listen to him first. You can
Rahul,
come back and counter him. I'm not stopping you.
Rahul,
Yeah.
he can replay my video. I said again he will. Rahul, can I make my point?
Can you let him finish? Mr. Bhandari, can you
seriously
let
can you
Mr.
roll
Bhandari
his video
finish? Mr. Ahmed, give him 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds.
I said very clearly, you can replay the video. Waqf law as applicable in India. Every law as applicable, the High Court interprets. I don't know what is the problem in understanding that for them. But anyways, they have to prove the title. Only when they prove the title does the question start that the government is trying to take over the land. When title is disputed, all that the Honorable High Court has done is balance the equities. That is all.
That's it. What's wrong, Mr. Jindal?
At the instance of government,
Mr. Jindal, it's the court we are talking about. Is the word of India's courts no longer valid in this country, Mr. Jindal? Or are you trying to today appease to the extent that you are going to undermine the writ of India's law? Why this Ganesh Puja phobia?
Good evening, Rahul. Ganesh Chaturthi as a festival was started by Congressman Lokmanya Gangadhar Tilak, and he wanted to promote national consciousness. But over here, BJP wants to use this entire festival to promote the Hindutva consciousness. Congress was trying to create solidarity against the British, but then over here, BJP wants to mobilize all Hindus against Muslims. Now for BJP, हनुमान चालीसा रमजान में, गणेश चतुर्थी ईदगाह मैदान में क्या लिखा है संविधान में, इनको कुछ नहीं पता. All that matters to them is politicization, polarization, as well as looking forward for future elections. They have no idea of how to create communal harmony, how to live in the spirit of brotherhood. Now all these, Sanju Verma, she did a self-poll. She herself stated that on 25th of August, the High Court, it stated in a single bench, it stated that the status quo shall exist. And then the Chief Minister comes out, Basav Raj Bommai, he says that Ganesh Chaturthi must be allowed in the Idgah Maidan, and then the High Court overrules its judgment, and on 26th it says that let Ganesh Chaturthi festival be allowed. Everyone knows what is happening in Karnataka High Court. Justice Sandesh himself stated that he was being threatened for transfer.
One second, now let's not bring in different strands here, please, Mr. Jindal. One second, let me just step in. No, 1 second. You know, I've heard your diatribe. Great, Mr. Jindal, very eloquent. But I just want to ask you a couple of questions. Even if one were to concede that the BJP is trying to polarize the environment by making its state authorities, like someone said, challenge what are Muslim properties, even if one concedes that, are you saying that the courts which have allowed for Ganesh Chaturthi Puja are part of this Hindutva project? Is that what the Congress party is saying today? Simple question, Mr. Jindal.
The Supreme Court is higher than the High Court. In 1964,
the matter has to be heard in the Supreme Court. 1 second, sir. The matter has to be heard in the Supreme Court. It will be heard in the next 48 hours.
So till that time, let the status coexist.
Till then, there's no coexistence here. The coexistence only comes when one community says, okay, in letter and spirit, let's implement the order. What does difference does it make if for 2 days someone performs the Ganesh Chaturthi? What is the big deal?
In that case, tomorrow,
the big deal is there is a minbar in the entire Maidan.
In that case,
now, as per the cultures and traditions of the Muslims,
can I do it on a Hindu ground?
In a minbar premises, they shall not allow another religious practice.
That's not mentioned anywhere, sir. This is the order, it's in front of me. The order stipulates 3 conditions for use and has added another, which is the one today. Let me read out. The state government BBMP are permitted to celebrate Independence Day and Republic Day on the subject land. Stop shouting over me, please. I'm reading out some facts. The state government BBMP are permitted to celebrate Independence Day and Republic Day on the subject land. Point 2, the subject land can be continued to be used as a public playground. Number 3, the members can be continued to be used as a public playground. So it is, as of today, more of a public playground than a prayer ground, viewers. Thirdly, members of the Muslim community can continue to offer prayers on the subject land on the days of Ramzan and Bakrid festivals. However, are not permitted to offer prayers on any other day. Why would this be the case if the title was clear, viewers? Why so many caveats? That's a fundamental question that should occur to any person logical. Anyhow, BJP spokesperson Sanju Verma wants to get in. Yes.
You know, Rahul, Lokesh Jindal was trying to misquote me. Indeed, what I said was on 25th August, while the single judge bench said that status quo has to be maintained, after the Karnataka state government petition, the two-judge bench actually ruled in the Karnataka state government's favor and said that yes, Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations can be held at the Idgah Maidan in Chamarajpet. Point number one, and point number two, which I think is the most important one. Finally, at the end of the day, as you yourself said, it's got the Waqf rules, which are sacrosanct in India. Article 12 of the Constitution reigns supreme, and under Article 12, if it is a public property, in this case it is owned by the Karnataka Revenue Department, the Karnataka state government has the right to ask for Ganesh Chaturthi, which is a public festival, to be held there, and that need not be questioned. So the fact of the matter is, Ganesh Chaturthi is not just a festival celebrated by Hindus. It is something which is a manifestation of our larger freedom movement, which was celebrated decades back by Lokmanya Tilak as an instrument of larger national consciousness and as an instrument of uprising against the British. So please stop looking at everything from this Hindu-Muslim prism. And I want to just end by saying Sector 37, Atlas Chowk, Sector 44, Sirhal Park, Sector 22, Genpact Park. Where are these places? They are in Haryana. What are these places used for? To offer namaz. Are these private properties of any Waqf board? No. Are they owned by any Muslim society? No. They are public land.
Yes,
but
it
every
is owned by
Friday,
Muslim society.
gather here and offer
Waqf
namaz.
is the custodian.
Every Friday, Muslims
Nobody is
gather
objecting
here and
to
offer
that.
namaz. Have you seen Hindus
Madam,
up in
this
arms?
No.
In
Actually, let me just step in. A lot of people have objected to it, sir.
Absolutely.
Everyone has
You want
objected
to
to it
create
in
a
that
dispute
area.
for
We have
political
covered that.
gain.
Mr. Khan, 1 minute, please. A large number of people have objected, but the state administration, has not entertained them to keep the peace. And that's a BJP administration. Now, 1 minute. Let me just very quickly just tell our viewers, this matter will be settled very easily. 1 second, please, Mr. Khan. Give me 30 seconds, please. I only ask you for 30 seconds, not more. Okay. Viewers, let me take you back in time. The ownership of property number 147, measuring 2.5 acres, was challenged by Rakanul Mulk and Abdul Wajid in 1955. There was an injunction against the corporation to enter the land by the Munsif Court. The municipality filed appeals at the Supreme Court and High Court, but the Waqf Board got the ruling in its favor. That is the particular ruling that these gentlemen here are quoting. However, the matter was challenged again recently, and the BBMP commissioner ordered the joint commissioner to verify the ownership. The BBP sent notices and gave 40 days to the board, the Waqf Board, to submit all the records to prove ownership. It failed to do so. It failed to claim the rights of the land. At survey number 40, the Joint Commissioner under quasi-judicial powers passed the order acting that under the BBMP Act 2020, Section 149, the Paleke cancelled its earlier order asking the board to apply for Khata and termed it a Revenue Department property and asked the officials concerned from the Revenue Department to apply for a Khata. Now, viewers, when the documents were sought, let me finish, by the Waqf Board, it was not able to produce all records of ownership. We have a bit of a problem here. That's why this matter is in dispute. I'll leave it at that. I need to move on. This is a very interesting story. At the end of the day, viewers, it's about brotherhood. One community, as the court has recognized, has equal rights. Nizam bhai, on this particular ground, this playground in Bengaluru. And therefore, it stands to reason that the other community, for a couple of days, 3 or 4, till this matter is finally decided, allows it in the interest of brotherhood. I'm going to move on. This is another story, viewers, that has been exercising the nation for a few days now. In fact, for a few weeks. And this is the matter of Bilkis Bano. Viewers, I want to ask a few rhetorical questions. Don't all victims of rape deserve to see their tormentors punished as per law? Should political parties and activists pick and choose the sexual assault cases they want to champion on the basis of political affiliation? Two very simple rhetorical questions. Of course, all victims of rape deserve to see their tormentors punished as per law. That is a very basic expectation, which is guaranteed by the Constitution to the citizenry. But viewers, on the question, should political parties and activists pick and choose the sexual assault cases they want to champion on the basis of political affiliation, I think all of us know the answer to that one. Of course not. They shouldn't cherry pick. All of us are made of flesh and blood equally in the eyes of our makers. If one of us is violated, the whole community is violated. Now, some of these questions haunt Bengal's Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee today. She has announced a 2-day dharna to demand justice for Bilkis Bano. The TMC wants the Supreme Court to overturn the remission handed out to Bilkis Bano's rapists that were convicted. This remission was granted by the Gujarat government. Bilkis Bano's rapists spent a little over 14 years in jail, and the Supreme Court had recently permitted the Gujarat state government to examine their pleas seeking remission. The remission was granted. And therefore, since then, there have been appeals filed in the Supreme Court calling upon it to reverse its own order and also overturn the remissions. And we have seen a number of political parties champion the cause of Bilkis Bano. Nothing wrong with that. This is a democracy. The latest, of course, being Mamata Banerjee. Listen to her right now, what she just said.
মহিলাদের আমি বলবো বিলকিস বানুর যারা হত্যাকারী গুজরাটে ধর্ণা দিয়ে গান্ধী মূর্তির পাশে 48 আওয়ার্স বসে থাকবে যে ইমিডিয়েট সুপ্রিম কোর্টকে হস্তক্ষেপ করে ওদের অ্যারেস্ট করানোর ব্যবস্থা করতে হবে अब हम लोगों को पास भी लेटर भेजा सबको छोड़ दो स्वाधीनता का 75 साल है ये आपने मौका लिया और सब स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को लेटर लिखा ये लोगों को छोड़ देना चाहिए लेकिन तब हम लोगों को समझ में नहीं आया था कि इसमें आप गुजरात दंगाकारी वो लोगों को भी छोड़ देंगे आपको शर्म तो होना चाहिए आप बेटी का बात करते हैं आप प्यार का बात करते हैं और सबसे ज्यादा बेटी का ऊपर अत्याचार कौन करते हैं आप करते हैं
Mamata's critics are now saying her intervention is selective. They want to know where she was when victims of post-poll violence and rape in West Bengal in 2021 sought her intervention when the Bengal police didn't file FIRs. In fact, the Calcutta High Court had slammed Mamata's government's apathy and inaction. Now, viewers, what did the court say at that time? The court was very clear. It said on the 19th of August 2021, and I'm quoting the Calcutta High Court, glaring inaction by state is evident from the data. Heinous crimes against women like rape, etc. have been committed. Committee's master data has 13 cases of rape. Steps not taken to inspire confidence by the government. State tried to downplay cases of rape and murder. Government hasn't responded to cases of rape. Send it to the CBI. In fact, viewers, I will quote now straight out of the judgment itself, or the order. Another glaring example of inaction by the state is evident from the data furnished in the report of the committee, where for heinous crimes against women such as rape or attempt to rape made in the complaints presented by the complainants before the committee, which were referred to the police, but proper steps have not been taken to investigate the heinous crime. which could inspire confidence in law enforcing agencies. In the master data furnished by the committee, there are 13 cases of rape. In one of the cases, the victim has even approached the Honorable Supreme Court for intervention, and the matter is pending. The names of the victims of the complainants are not being mentioned for the purpose of confidentiality. Viewers, it's not just this. The order went on to say, in our opinion, the heinous crimes such as murder and rape deserve to be investigated by an independent agency, which in circumstances can only be the CBI. It is for the reason that in a number of cases the state had failed to register the FIRs and opined the same to be not the case of murder. In some cases, even after the registration of FIR, the observation by the state is that they may result in no case. This shows predetermined mind to take investigation into a particular direction. This is what has been said by the court. The question is Mamata Banerjee today grandstanding so that she can score a few political points against the BJP? Let's open this up. Let me go straight across to Dr. Shantanu Sen, Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha and spokesperson of the TMC. Dr. Sen, the charge is that Mamata Banerjee is using Bilkis Bano as a crutch to fight a political battle against the Narendra Modi government at the centre and the BJP at the state level. If she was so concerned about women's rights, she would have done a lot more for the post-poll violence rape victims. In fact, sir, it's very, very sad that a 60-year-old woman was raped in front of her grandson, among several others who claimed sexual assault during the post-poll violence in Bengal. This is as heinous as any crime can be. But your government, your administration was held up for apathy. How do you like to respond, Dr. Sen?
There is no point of using this Bilkis Bano case as a crutch, because now it has become loud and clear. If you go through the National Crime Record Bureau, you can very well understand that the crime rate on women, and so far the rape cases are concerned, it has significantly raised in our country. And if you go state-wise, you will see Uttar Pradesh is leading the list. Madhya Pradesh is just following Uttar Pradesh.
I see.
And many other BJP ruled states, they are in the list very much. So far as Bilkis Bano is concerned, it was an incident of 2002. She was pregnant, she was a 5 months pregnant lady, and her 3 years daughter was also killed. Now you are talking about Bilkis Bano. I must remind you, on 15th August, in the morning while talking about women empowerment, Narendra Modi ji, he was talking the same from Lal Killa. On the very same day in the state of Gujarat, we all know there are certain rulings of Supreme Court. But irrespective of all this, you have to admit, on the same day, Narendra Modi ji in his own state, 11 accused were not only released, they were welcomed gloriously, they were garlanded, they were given sweets and
Dr.
everything.
Sen, I have taken a public position.
One
second, Dr. Sen. I and this channel have taken a public position in support of Bilkis Bano.
Let me answer your question.
So one second. Now I asked you a very specific question about using. One second. You quoted some statistics. Let me correct you, sir.
I am answering your question.
No, let me correct you. Let me correct you. You mentioned a certain state, Uttar Pradesh, as leading the charts in crimes against women. According to the NCRB data for 2019-2020, West Bengal is the number 2 state for crimes against women. Sir, let me also quote another statistic. The same NCRB data has also highlighted how West Bengal has the lowest conviction rate for crimes against women in 2020. That stood at just 2%. Not to mention Kolkata's conviction rate, which stood at 7.8%. Therefore, I'm asking you, wouldn't you therefore agree that Mamata Banerjee's criticisms are politically motivated and are selective? Why are you politicizing her case? It's the greatest dishonor you're making.
You are sitting on the chair of an anchor. No. The problem is whenever you are sitting on the chair with some biased mind, it becomes very difficult for us who are sitting at a far distance from your place to convince you. Let me answer your question. You are talking about post-poll violence. I would like to let you know once again, up till 5th of May, law and order situation was under the purview of Election Commission of India in our state of West Bengal.
That is a lie.
After 5th, Mamata Banerjee took the charge. And from 6th of May, there was no case of post-poll violence. So whatever has taken place,
Sir,
it has taken place.
Calcutta High Court says, quote unquote, glaring example of inaction by the state. These are the words of the Calcutta High Court. I'm not making it up, and I'm not biased here, sir. I've already said that on Bilkis Bano, I believe that there is a case. There is a case for overturning the remission. So 1 minute. I'm only saying, one second. I'm only asking whether, sir, please, doctor, you know, when you don't have answers to give me, the basic methodology that people adopt here is to attack the anchor. I'm not going to allow that. I'm not. Because my facts are absolutely unimpeachable. Correct me on my facts. That's it. There are no bias in these words of the court. If you are alleging that, sir, good luck to you. The court will think of you as being contemptuous. And let me tell you, viewers, the court has held up certain cases. I can't take the names. But viewers, here is the entire list of cases that the court said that the state government, the state was bearing. I'm not, sir. I'm not asking. I've only asked you for an answer. You attacked me. I'm only correcting you, sir. I'm just putting the facts out for my viewers.
You are not allowing me to complete my answer.
Sir, go ahead.
You are not allowing me to complete.
You have said everything.
Because immediately you want me to play the string in your tune.
Mr. Sen, you can't have a monologue. You can't have a
What has happened is
Gujarat.
There is a complaint of perpetual rape.
Sir, there is a habitual problem. Look at this. Viewers, 1 second. You have trivialized the Hashik Ali rape case.
May I come in?
In 2012, Mamata Banerjee said, you are showing repeatedly that a little girl has been raped. I asked police what happened. Now, will you call it a rape? Will you call her pregnant? Or will you call it love affair? Have you done the inquiry? You know what the law says, viewers?
Right.
A child attack. No, 1 second. A child.
Don't confuse.
Please.
Rahul, may I
spoken against media trial.
Please, sir. Please.
Like you people.
Please.
This man cannot
like you people.
talk the entire.
There you go. There you go. I have heard they were into a relationship, said Mamata Banerjee, about a little girl. A little girl who got impregnated under our laws, viewers, even consensual. 1 second. 1 second. There is statutory rape in this country, and if you even have,
don't confuse the people.
There is nothing called consensual rape.
You don't have the right to
there is nothing called consensual sex with an underage. Sir, you can keep shouting. It's fine. I'm only quoting facts.
May I
okay.
Rahul, can I come in?
One second.
Rahul,
One second. One second. And this is very, very important. This is what the court said. The constitutional obligations of the state cannot be vested in the Election Commission even during elections. The order addressed this issue that Dr. Sen is raising. I'm quoting the order. Strong argument was sought to be raised by the learned Advocate General time and again that till such time election code was in force, entire police was under the control and supervision of Election Commission of India. Hence it is responsible for any violence till May 3, 2021, when the code was lifted. No provision of law rules or instructions to that effect have been referred in support of the argument. The argument deserves to be rejected outrightly. Civil or police administration is under the control of the Election Commission during the process of elections only to ensure free and fair elections. That does not mean that the police stopped discharging its normal duties to control law and order. This argument runs contrary to even the stand of the state, where it claimed that number of FIRs were registered up to May 3, 2021 for post-poll violence and otherwise also for normal crime in state. The police was duty-bound to maintain law and order and register FIRs and not the Election Commission. Viewers, everything that Dr. Sen has said.
Why incidents stop taking place?
Rahul, may I please?
After 6, tell me.
You know, Dr. Sen has been
Mr. Sen.
doing one lie after another.
Okay, let the BJP respond to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Rahul, I will not take too long. I quickly want to bust and nail the lies by the Trinamool Congress. First and foremost, Article 324, 325, 326, 327, 328 and 329. Please go and read. These articles say that during election to a particular state, the Election Commission only has to see that the elections are conducted in a free and fair manner. But the overall jurisdiction in terms of administration still continues to lie with the concerned Chief Minister. So Mamata Banerjee continued to be responsible for the post-poll violence.
I have settled that issue, but I have a more. No, but I have a more. I have a political question.
May I please finish, Rahul? I barely started. Give me 20 seconds.
Okay.
You know, you had Mr. Sen go on and on. The moment I spoke, you said, let me please say one more thing. Now, is remission something that is legally provided? Yes, it is provided under Section 432 of the CRPC. I just want to ask one thing to people. Why is it? You know, what happens in the Bilkis Bano case? We will come to know within the next 2 odd weeks because the case will come up in the Supreme Court. But what I can't understand, where was this Mahua Moitra? Where was Mamata Banerjee? You know?
That's fine. You can call out the hypocrisy, but I just want to come to the point with you. 1 second.
Gang rape, your Mamata Banerjee, just 20 seconds, please. I will say exactly what she said. After the Hamsa Khali gang rape, Mamata Banerjee said, "Aapni rape bolbin, na aapni love affair bolbin, na aapni pregnant bolbin." Was it a love affair gone wrong? Was it because the girl was pregnant?
Okay.
She accused the so-called.
So you can argue the point, Ms. Verma, about the hypocrisy, etc., etc. But I want to ask you. Despite that, can Mamata Banerjee's comments be outrightly dismissed? That's the fundamental question. A large number, 1 second, Sanju Verma, a large number of people are saying that you might have, at some level or the other, taken defense of behind the letter of the law. But in spirit, should we be releasing rapists into society and then garlanding them, which an element of those that are sympathetic to your cause have done? In the Bilkis case, Khushbu Sundar from your party came out. Khushbu Sundar from your party came out and said exactly this, that it was wrong. Mr. Fadnavis, the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, said it was wrong. But we haven't heard any central leaders even mention the Bilkis Bano. Of course, go ahead.
Okay. Rahul, now, you know, I'm glad you brought this issue, and without shoving things under the carpet, I will clearly say this, that, you know, if Bilkis Bano's, perpetrators have to go back to jail, then we need to re-examine the entire policy with respect to remission. My only submission is this. You cannot say that the convicts in this case should not get the benefit of remission, but when Ferrari Valan, the key assassin in the Rajiv Gandhi case in March this year, was given, remission by the Supreme Court, people were quiet.
Sure.
When Mohammad Afroz in the Nirdhaya case, you know...
Well, I asked that question on this show of the DMK government, and I felt that that was very wrong. One second. Maybe you were here on the debate, I don't know, Sanju Verma, but the DMK government was asked that similar question: why are you felicitating the killers of Rajiv Gandhi, who were, at least one of them, Ferrari Valan, who was given remission and then celebrated? I took a absolute straightforward view. Unacceptable. And on this case, and therefore, on the Bilkis case, that's why, madam, on the Bilkis case, your decision to go out there, or not yours in particular, or your parties in particular, but those that support your party and speak in perhaps support of your party, their decision to felicitate the rapists, the convicts, rapists of Bilkis Bano was absolutely wrong. Reprehensible, and your own Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra has come out and said so. So I'm only saying, why hasn't the centre...
But Rahul, I just want to ask you one thing. If there is a policy with respect to remission, and somebody is being given the benefit of doubt under that remission policy, then I don't think there should be an issue, or you have the entire...
The issue lies, and that is matter which is sub judice. I agree with you. The matter is sub judice. It is with the Supreme Court. I agree with you. There are certain lacunae, according to some people, in the manner in which the procedure of remission was carried out. Now, I can't sit here and have a parallel debate on that. That matter is now before the Supreme Court. On that, yes, there is a procedure. The Supreme Court allowed for the panel to be set up to go into the remission.
What
the Supreme Court...
to Manu Sharma?
Fair enough, absolutely.
What about remission to Sushil Sharma?
There is...
Naina Sahni case?
Yes, there is a provision. No one is denying that, madam. No one is denying it. It is only about how the process and procedure... Yes, as I've said... Okay, one second. Sanju Verma, I agree with you. There is a provision under the law to give remission in certain states once life sentence has been completed. That law was already altered in 2014 at a national level. In certain cases. One second. The matter was not to be applied. One second. Allow me. I agree that the matter, that this change rules 2014 should not be allowed retrospectively, but there are concerns about how the panel went about its work, which is now before the Supreme Court. I leave it at that. There's no, I'm not disagreeing with you. Yes, okay, 10 seconds. Go ahead, 10 seconds. Yeah.
Rahul, because you're somebody who welcomes constructive criticism.
10 seconds. Go ahead, ma'am.
The Supreme Court says that remission rules have to be applied based on the date of conviction.
I agree with you. I've said so. I agree with you. The matter is now before the Supreme Court. Madam, I think you're just repeating what I've said. I'm only repeating you and echoing you. You are right. You can argue that you followed the letter of the law. I'm talking about... One second. There are certain people who have moved the Supreme Court saying that you did not follow the letter of the law. The matter is now before the Supreme Court. I just want to say, viewers, it doesn't stop anyone, even Mamata Banerjee, from raising this issue. But is it right to use Bilkis Bano as a political tool? That's all. That was a debate. I leave it at that.
Need to come up nowadays and answer all the questions. So that's so clear. We knew from that starting that they will not change and they will never get that, because it's not just a war. It's not just terror. It's an ideology which they are carrying it, the same from that starting of their presence in Afghanistan. After the fall of Mujahideen, after the retake of Kabul by power in 90s, they had the same thing. They were the same people. And the same thing was happening that time as well. They was promising women rights and education and everything of women time to time, but it was just a promise. And all during the 7 or 6 years of their time, their governance in Afghanistan, they never agreed on what they promised.
So Zarifa, how do you describe the condition of women and young girls in the country right now?
In a country where women are able or allowed, not able, but are allowed legally, and unsocial wise, to sell their body parts, to sell their children, to sell their household, to sell their dreams, hopes, everything, but not able to study or work and earn some money legally and with honor to feed their family. So definitely that could be the worst happening to women. Nowadays, Afghanistan is the only one country around the world where girl child is not able to go to school, especially for secondary and higher education. So it shows clearly that how women are surviving life in a country where just your gender becomes a crime to stop you from all humanitarian rights. So definitely living in that country will cost you not only your life, but your dignity, your hope, emotions, and dreams.
Do you think there is a chance for change?
Actually, it's so clear. They have to change. They have to change. Not only starting from that small resistance or activities inside the country, but global-wise, there is a big amount of resistance going on. There is previously, and in the history of Afghanistan, it was always men rising up and changing the situation. But this time, we see it globally that there are women who are stepping up, women of Afghanistan.
Tonight, viewers.
Ghulam Nabi Azad takes jibe at Rahul Gandhi's hug to Prime Minister Modi in Parliament, says it's not me who is entangled with Modi, it is him. 3 more Congress leaders, including former Deputy Speaker Ghulam Haider Malik, announced their resignation from the party in support of Azad. In a latest development in Sonali Phogat death mystery, Goa CM Pramod Sawant said that all accused in the case have been arrested.
Afghanistan are not anymore women of 90s. So it's so clear that they have to change. Otherwise, they need to just give up.
You also recently visited Kabul, if I'm not wrong. How do you see the country has changed?
But just few days later, the closure of schools, and that also in a way that schools were open, girls were already inside school for 1 or 2 hours, and then suddenly Taliban are coming and kicking them out of their classes. So this is, this was that, climbing up into the top of a mountain and then without having anything in your hand to help you and support you, you fell down and you broke into pieces. So that happened not only to me, to everyone around the country and outside the country, for all Afghan citizens all around, especially for women.
The most pressing issues, the most informed minds, free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Shivshankar.
For decision makers.
What happened after the 1990s was we opened our economy, and which was the right thing to do, because at that time there was too much state control.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On 15th of August, Gujarat government decided to release Bilkis Bano's 11 rapists. That decision has evoked widespread condemnation ever since. Bilkis has been betrayed, has been the voice that has echoed since. From silent protests in the country to 134 former civil servants writing to the Supreme Court asking for the reversal of the Gujarat government decision, and today Mamata Banerjee decided to raise her voice. She announced a 2-day dharna to demand justice for Bilkis Bano and for her rapists to be re-imprisoned. Her call for justice for Bilkis comes at a time when the Supreme Court has already agreed to hear the case challenging the Gujarat government's decision to grant remission to the convicts, and has issued notices to the Gujarat government. Listen in to what Mamata Banerjee said today.
মহিলাদের আমি বলবো বিলকিস বানুর যারা হত্যাকারী গুজরাটে ধর্ণা দিয়ে গান্ধী মূর্তির পাশে 48 আওয়ার্স বসে থাকবে যে ইমিডিয়েট সুপ্রিম কোর্টকে হস্তক্ষেপ করে ওদের অ্যারেস্ট করানোর ব্যবস্থা করতে হবে अब हम लोगों को पास भी लेटर भेजा सबको छोड़ दो स्वाधीनता का 75 साल है ये आपने मौका लिया और सब स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को लेटर लिखा ये लोगों को छोड़ देना चाहिए लेकिन तब हम लोगों को समझ में नहीं आया था कि इसमें आप गुजरात दंगाकारी वो लोगों को भी छोड़ देंगे आपको शर्म तो होना चाहिए आप बेटी का बात करते हैं आप प्यार का बात करते हैं और सबसे ज्यादा बेटी का ऊपर अत्याचार कौन करते हैं आप करते हैं
Well, Mamata Banerjee, as the woman chief minister of Bengal, is well within her rights to seek that the Supreme Court should set right the order or the flawed order of the Gujarat government. But I also want to ask Mamata Banerjee, if she's crying for women's rights, why is her voice so selective? I ask this because there are many women in West Bengal who are feeling a sense of betrayal tonight, especially those who saw their lives change in a matter of a few minutes back in 2021 in the post-poll violence. Crimes that shook the conscience of the nation in the aftermath of the assembly elections in the state last year. Rape survivors recounting their horrific tales only for their chief minister, their ma, to abandon them and brush their allegations under the carpet. And that duplicity is what the BJP is reminding the Trinamool Congress today. Listen in.
So now I think she's forgotten about the number of rapes, the number of inhumanities put on, wreaked upon women in our state, despite us, this state having a woman chief minister. She's got no sympathy. She's got no sensitivity. She doesn't even think it's recommended that she puts in one comment of sensitivity. At least, as a woman, she should be feeling the humiliation, the pain that a woman goes through. No, but she's bothered about Bilkis Bano and the accused there who've been released after a full-fledged 14 years of life imprisonment.
Actually, Trinamool Congress क्या है? Trinamool All India Trinamool Congress Party है. उस जगह में जाकर धरना प्रदर्शन करने से ठीक रहेगा. ये बिल्किस बानो का मैटर सामने इसलिए लाया जब पश्चिम बंगाल की जनता अभी ममता जी का जो पार्टी तृणमूल कांग्रेस उसका असली चेहरा उसका सामने है. उससे नजर हटाने के लिए बिल्किस बानो हो रहा है. क्या है बिल्किस बानो? वो स्प्रे इंसिडेंट लेकर के कोई नहीं होता. वो एबेरेशन है ये.
It's not just about the post-poll violence. NCRB data of 2019-20 suggests that the West Bengal is the second state in the country where crimes against women are at an alarming level. From 29,859 cases in 2019, these have grown to 36,439 in 2020. Even the conviction rate in these cases is at the lowest ebb ever of 2% in West Bengal against a national average of about 30%. And the question we're asking on the Newshour tonight, because it is the legitimate question, Mamata for Bilkis Bano, is that hypocritical? That's the question and that's the debate coming up on the other side. Mamata for Bilkis, that's the hashtag and the debate coming up.
You're watching the Newshour at 9, debate number 1, on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining me tonight, Shehzad Poonawala, national spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, Anirban Banerjee, political analyst. But my first question goes to Professor Manojit Mandal, spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress. And Professor Manojit Mandal, please don't get me wrong. I am one with you in raising my voice for justice for Bilkis Bano, and why her rapists were released is something I question today, and I have questioned since the day this happened. But I want to ask you, what about Ms. Mamata Banerjee's own stand of crimes against women? Can I read out to you what the High Court had to say last year? And they said that page number 169 of the NHRC report, the information obtained from the DGP West Bengal says that no rape had occurred at all. Offences merely related to attempt to rape or sexual molestation. And 29 cases have been handed over by the NHRC to the CBI, but the DGP saw no rape. It was only attempt to rape and sexual molestation. Point number one. And point number two, April 12th, do you remember when Trinamool leader's son was accused of a rape? What did Mamata Banerjee say? She said, was it a rape or was it a love affair gone wrong? This when the investigation was on. I want to ask you, Manojit Mandal, raise your voice against Bilkis Bano. We welcome that, but what about what's happening in your own backyard, Mr. Mandal?
So you are referring to a report made by BJP's committee of NHRC last year, which we reject with utter condemnation at our command. We condemn the brutal violence perpetrated against one woman recently, just 3 days back, in Basirhat area of North 24 Organas, made by 2 BSF Jawans. Both are in the custody. The kind of brutal sexual assault on a woman, throwing her baby out of her lap, these 2 BSF Jawans. You mean to say that we should not raise voice against these crimes? I repeat, West Bengal, don't go by our data, West Bengal, especially Calcutta, is one of the safest cities for women in the country. Please check your facts right. And you were talking about the post-poll violence. Post-poll violence, who is inquiring? Who is investigating for the last 1.5 years? It is Central Bureau of Investigation. Show me a single case of charge sheet why Trinamool leaders are involved in those quote-unquote alleged post-poll violences which have been running ad nauseam for the last 1 year. I repeat, the investigation is being done by the CBI. You are rightly referring, the cases were handed over to the CBI. We want to know, as a citizen of this country and of Bengal, what are the results that CBI has given us, because they were largely narratives floated, transmitted, perpetrated by a section of media, not of course you, on the behest of the BJP, which they have been doing for the last 5 years systematically to malign Mamata and the people of Bengal. Failed terribly.
Well, I want to ask you, Manojit Mandal, you are talking about the BJP's NHRC. May I ask you, are you saying the Calcutta High Court is also the BJP's Calcutta High Court? Because these observations are in the court order right here, and there are cases, and this is tabulated right here. If I can show this on camera, these are the cases listed, and FIR that has not been filed. This is in the High Court order, my friend Manojit Mandal. Not just nothing was registered here. Instead, what you have done, 12 FIRs were registered against me in the Nupur Sharma case. For what? I did not even come to Bengal. I did what I had to. The Supreme Court is what came in. 12 FIRs against me, but no FIRs in the cases of rapes. That is your standard, and that is your accountability of crimes against women in your state, Mr. Manojit Mandal. And Shehzad Poonawalla, I want to ask you. Does he mean to say that the High Court also belongs to the BJP?
May I respond?
Yes, please respond.
For the first time, Navika, in so many years, I am hearing about 2 categories of rape and atrocities on women. Secular rape and atrocities on women, and communal rape and atrocities on women. बिल्किस पर आक्रोश और अंकिता पर खामोश। अंकिता की एक ही खता की तुष्टीकरण की मिल रही है उसे सजा। दिस इज द डबल स्टैंडर्ड्स एंड डबल स्पीक इन पॉलिटिकल कन्वीनियंस विथ which now even rapes and atrocities on women are being judged. What would you say about a woman who says that a young girl was raped in Nadia and she comes out and says that this is not a rape, it is in fact a love affair that has gone wrong? That woman happens to be the Chief Minister of Bengal. Where is the outrage on this? 7,000 women were molested during the post-poll violence, and this was a report submitted by a retired High Court judge. Where is the akrosh on this? In Birbhum, when young children and women were massacred, Anuprata Bandal, the favorite of the Chief Minister, said that this was a TV short circuit that caused it. 5 women were raped, young women were raped from the tribal community in April 2022. No action was taken. In fact, there was an attempt to defend the rapist, the accused, who belonged to the TMC, and the court had to intervene and direct that the probe should be done in a proper manner, and the report was sought by the High Court. The same High Court had to intervene even in the post-poll violence case, and in fact it went on to say that the state government tried to downplay these cases of rapes and did not file the FIRs. This is also a case where 17-year-old to a 60-year-old both filed affidavits in Supreme Court saying how TMC leaders raped them, and there was no action or outrage by the Trinamool Congress government. And to top it all, this is a government, an MP of the TMC went on to say about the Park Street rape victim that she was actually indulging in a deal which went wrong. This is the true face of the Trinamool Congress. By the way, Kolkata has the lowest conviction rate when it comes to crimes against women. The national conviction rate is about 30%. Kolkata happens to be 7.8%. The highest rise in crimes against women took place in West Bengal in 2019-2020, while it was coming down nationally. The lowest rates of conviction against women atrocities and crimes happens to be in West Bengal, and Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh happen to have a higher conviction rate. This is the reality which the West Bengal government should acknowledge, but unfortunately even such a matter has now been politicized. I just have one question of Trinamool Congress. Why is there no outrage on Ankita's case? Because the victim happens to be...
It's only Kadi Ninda.
Because the accused happens to be from a particular religion.
Ankita is a Hindu.
And because the accused happens to be Shah Rukh.
The state, there are two things that have to be decided, and I am asking you, Monojit Mandal, is the religion first or the state first? Choose amongst these, because if it is a BJP ruled state, you will go after it. If it's a non-BJP state, it doesn't really mean anything. You will just say, hum kadi ninda karte hain. I want to ask you, will you decide what is your reaction based on the religion of the victim and the state in which she has been raped, Monojit Mandal, yes or no?
As an individual, I feel ashamed when two of you are communalizing rape. For us, rape is a rape, murder is a murder.
Then why did Mamata Banerjee on 12th of April say that is this a rape or is it a love affair gone wrong?
Madam, just I reply. I'm replying. First of all, when there is a rape in the Basirhat, North 24 Parganas, perpetrated by BSF Jamans, did you take up the case, madam? You may not. That's your prerogative. That's your editorial policy. We have nothing to do with that. For us, whether the girl is Hindu, Muslim, doesn't matter. What are you talking about? I feel ashamed again to participate in such a debate why rape is being communalized.
How very noble of you and Dr. Anand
Ranganathan. Dr. Anand, it created outrages even among international communities. The way these people were left out.
Dr. Anand Ranganathan wants to come in. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Professor Monojit Mandal, of course, tried to say this is the BJP's NHRC, a matter that was rejected by the High Court itself in paragraph 67.
I repeat and I stand by my charge.
Yes, the court examined your charge, my friend. The court examined your charge, and in paragraph 67 said entire effort seems to be to misdirect the issue and delay the proceedings
before them. You perhaps know about the proceedings in a court, madam. The court will examine the documents, evidences produced before them. The court doesn't make an investigation. The investigation is being made by a BJP's commission. 3% so as BJP members, including one former ABVP. What are you talking about? The court will examine those documents presented by the BJP commission.
Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Dr. Anand Ranganathan,
Please don't teach us how court works in this country.
litany of charges. The purest party in the country or in the world possibly is the Trinamool Congress, and the BJP possibly the most hateful party. Respond to the charges made by Professor
Certainly
Monojit
purer than BJP. Certainly purer than BJP.
Can I please?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Good evening, Navika. It's a very sensitive topic, and I have a couple of minutes of talking about really serious issues. So I would beg your indulgence, and I beg the indulgence of my co-panelists not to interrupt me, because this is a very serious topic. Thank you. It is a shame, Navika, that this happening and the events surrounding Ms. Bilkis Bano have been heavily politicized. You remember on your show a couple of weeks ago when this whole news came about, I was one of the first ones to condemn what had happened. Not only was the rape most heinous crime, what happened to Ms. Bano, but the way the government handled it, there was a straight conflict of interest in the panel that decided whether the rapist should come out of prison after having finished their quanta of punishment, which was legal. So there was absolutely the coming out was legal, as has been ascertained by Supreme Court. But the committee, obviously, as I said as well, there's a straight conflict of interest, because politicians, especially BJP politicians, and we've heard their comments later on, absolutely partisan and should not have been allowed. And what also should never have been allowed, or at least it was grisly to see those people having come out being garlanded. It was reminiscent of the killer of Rajiv Gandhi being garlanded and felicitated by the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, as well as Bishop Murukkal being garlanded when he was rape accused, as well as those people who were lynched in Jharkhand being garlanded. So these things are absolutely execrable and should be condemned by everyone. Now let me come and quote directly by the observations of the court order of Calcutta High Court last year. And incidentally, I say this, so please give me less than a minute. And I say this, that there are 36,000 rapes that happen in this country. Not one rape is more heinous than the other, according to me. I am in no position to comment further on that, but let me say this. One should not play politics on rape, and these are verbatim comments by the Calcutta High Court. It is established that there had been post-poll violence and the state was found on a wrong foot, where throughout it was on a denial mode. In violence, number of persons were killed. Many suffered sexual violence and grievous injuries. Even minor girls were not spared. They have been brutally assaulted sexually. Properties of many of them were damaged, and number of them were forced to leave their houses and even migrate to neighboring states. Till date, the state has not been able to create an atmosphere that could build confidence of the sufferers to return back to their homes or carry on their occupation. The complaints of most of them were not recorded by the police, or cross cases were forced against them. This is verbatim from the court order of the Calcutta High Court. Is it being run by BJP? Why are we politicizing such heinous crimes? And just to answer your question, finally, I'm not concerned with rebutting the panelists out here, because I know since 1945, there are people who enable and who say that evil is banal, the banality of evil. There are Eichmanns in this world, Navika. You would always find people who justify, rationalize such crimes. So I am here to say my piece, and I'm not here to rebut any panelists. Thank you so much.
Well, I want to ask Anirban Banerjee. Anirban Banerjee, of course we must all, as a nation which has a conscience, which is still alive, we should ask for justice for Bilkis Bano. Certainly we should. But I want to ask you, what is the West Bengal government's track record on crimes against women? I want to ask you this because you cannot have double standards. And is this issue of Bilkis Bano only a convenient tool because there are elections in Gujarat? I'm sorry, as a woman, I'm appalled. I'm appalled that the Chief Minister, who just 4 months ago said that, oh, this rape is a love affair that's gone wrong. Why? Because the accused happened to be the son of a Trinamool leader? Is that why? would you make a difference between one rape and another? And would something that is under investigation be an issue for a comment of this nature by the Chief Minister herself, who's also the Home Minister of the state, under whom law and order comes? So Anirban Banerjee, you know, I just want to ask you, is there hypocrisy? Is there double standards?
I'll tell you what a double standard, the very definition of double standard is. That is, in the morning from the Lal Killa, our Prime Minister flows with words about respecting women, about revering them as goddesses and everything. And right in the evening, we come to know that 11 of the not just mass rapists, but murderers, Bano, who actually smashed a 3-year-old child, smashed, let the word be registered, smashed a 3-year-old child and killed her. They were let free by the BJP government.
Do not describe this because it is offensive. I agree with you in toto. But can you also raise your voice about Dumka and Ankita? Ankita, who was burnt alive, first acid poured on her and then burnt alive, and the Chief Minister of Jharkhand with all his MLAs is actually taking a boat ride? Not one word against that? Not one word against that?
Just a minute. In which incident did you see that the convicted rapists, not accused, are garlanded? They are
okay, so there is only whataboutery. Shehzad Poonawalla.
So, while we do not support anybody garlanding any convict, I would now ask him that when a young girl has been raped and she needs justice from the state, and when the head of that state says that how do we even know that this girl has been raped, thereby victim shaming and victim blaming, that the victim herself is responsible for the things that have happened with her, or when a 60-year-old lady files an affidavit in the top court saying that a TMC leader gang raped me in front of my grandchildren, at that time we ask that is this a BJP-led panel that is making the allegation, thereby impugning that the woman who has made this allegation on an affidavit to the Supreme Court belongs to the BJP or is linked to the BJP, and therefore she's making an allegation which is so serious in nature. What is the stand of the TMC government on this? The fact of the matter is that today, if there was genuine concern for Mati Manush, Mamata Banerjee would be taking action on these cases. Mamata Banerjee would be telling us that those who allowed these incidents to take place under her watch, what action did she take on them? She in fact tried to defend the accused. In one case you have those people being convicted and being left out after a remission policy which may or may not be right or wrong. That can be debated. It's gone to the Supreme Court and certainly nobody defends the felicitation of those people. But now I ask the TMC leaders, and I can see that the official TMC spokesperson is not here. The TMC should tell us that when the head of the state comes out and victim shames and says that the victim is not raped, it was perhaps a love affair, or that perhaps it was a deal that went wrong and that was the sexual assault that took place in the Park Street rape case, will they take an unequivocal stand and say that the head of the state was wrong?
Monojit Mandal, respond to that charge.
First of all, we do not really know the result of the investigation which is being done by you, meaning the BJP government, CBI. We want to know the result in both the cases that you are referring to.
The cases went to the courts ruled on them.
Did I
the
stop you, sir?
case was transferred
Have some
to
courtesy.
the CBI by
You are getting uninterrupted
court.
times.
No, it is not
Did
about
I,
that.
Did I stop you?
Are you saying High Court is managed by the BJP? Are you saying High Court is managed by the BJP?
First of all,
who transferred the probe of the Nadia rape case to the CBI?
Of a party, you should allow the equal time to your counterpart. I mean, I don't know.
There will be equal time, but where is the equal accrosh? Where is the equal protest? Where is the equal affrontation that you have towards these cases?
I did not disturb you, sir. You learned courtesies. That is your problem.
All right.
You people are violent even inside the TV studio. Look at the level of violence that you perpetrated. 30% of your MPs are criminal, including they have charges of rapes and murder, including terrorism. What are you talking about? We learn peace from BJP. 30% of your MPs are criminals.
And therefore it
They
is
have
justified
charges of
for the
rape,
CM
murder,
to doubt
and
a
terrorism.
16-year-old
What are you talking
and
about?
ask her
You are the most
that whether
violent
she was
political
raped
party
or
in
whether
this
it was a
country,
love affair
both
gone
inside
bad.
the studio and even outside the studio. Look how you're behaving.
You are justifying Mamata Banerjee's statement about a
inside the
16-year-old
studio,
girl.
outside the studio. And let me speak.
Okay.
Can I speak, sir?
Okay.
Can I have my say,
You
sir?
have 45 seconds. Make your point. If you can justify or explain any of the charges against you.
Victims, yes. Park Street rape victims got justice in 4 years.
What action
Company
did you
rape
take on Kakoli
victims
Ghosh?
got justice in 9 months. The government, look at this man, look at this man, look at this man.
Dastidar said that this was a deal that went wrong.
I pity you, man.
Now you tell me what action did you take on an MP?
Okay.
You were so perturbed that somebody facilitated what did you take action on Kakoli Ghosh?
1 minute. You make your point and then Shehzad you can rebut.
All the cases of what we investigated, you are unable to give them justice. The rape victim that you are alleging, CBI investigating, nothing has been done as yet. No justice. We gave justice to all the rape victims when state investigation was done in 9 months, in 3 years, in 2 years. You are investigating now the post-poll violence and those rape cases, quote-unquote alleged rape cases. You are unable to give them justice. This is BJP and their CBI. I make this charge on national TV. You people are unable to investigate.
Not one single answer, not one single answer except charges. Yes, okay, Manojit Mandal, you made your point. You have nothing to say about the Chief Minister calling rape and calling it a love affair gone wrong. You have nothing to say about the High Court's observations and orders on cases not even being recorded. You have nothing to say. All right, we understand you are above question, but Shehzad Poonawalla, respond.
I just need 5 seconds. Instead of frothing at the seams, Manojit Mandal should only tell us that if he is so perturbed and disturbed with some private people felicitating, which I am calling as wrong. Now, Mamata Banerjee, even before the investigation could take place in Nadiad case, which was transferred to the CBI by the High Court, gave a clean chit to the accused. What action should be taken on her? Secondly, Kakoli Ghosh Dastidar, in the case which you mentioned, Park Street case, which you are saying that well done by us, we have taken action. In that case, she said that this was actually a deal that went wrong, thereby victim shaming. You tell me that after the conviction has come in the Park Street rape case, what action did you take on Kakoli Ghosh? You want action on those some private people which are nowhere linked with BJP, and I am condemning it. You have not even sent the official representative of TMC because you can't answer these questions. This is your double standard.
And I want to play out, the sound bite of a victim who we got on our cameras last year in May. And the High Court's order came in August. Between May and August, what people went through, please listen in to this victim.
2 तारीख में मेरा घर में 65 लोग में आया, आके हम लोग को मार के घर से निकाल दिया, दे के 2 बोतल पेट्रोल रख दिया मेरा घर में, रख के बोला जो रात 12टा का अंदर ना नहीं गया तो तुमको जिंदा जला देगा।
कौन थे ये लोग?
ये लोग था तृणमूल का आदमी, प्रार्थी था, प्रसन्नजीत शाह था और लोग था, विजय था, कोयल था, सब लोग का नाम तो याद नहीं है अभी। तो ये लोग था, मेरा पारा का लड़का लोग ही था। तो ये लोग ऐसे किया, मेरा को ऐसे यहाँ पर सीना में मारा, कान में चार मारा, मेरा हस्बैंड को ऐसे मारा। तो तबीयत खराब था, शिशु मंगल में भर्ती था, यही से ट्रीटमेंट कर रहा है।
Dr. Anand Ranganathan, that's a testimony of a woman and the horror she went through. No response on that, ever.
No, happened actually to see what has happened to the victims of the post-poll violence. It occurs to me that every political party has forgotten them, including the BJP, has to be said. There has not been a single word from the top echelons of the BJP regarding the post-poll violence. There are still people who migrated, fleeing this violence of a horrible sexual nature, who migrated away from Bengal. They are still to be rehabilitated back in Bengal. The world has forgotten about them, like the world forgot about the Marijhap massacre that happened 45 years ago when 10,000 Dalits were brutally raped and massacred, and the communists did that, perpetrated it, and still not a single person has been held guilty.
Well, tonight the question that we are asking is just this, that for Mamata Banerjee to raise the issue of Bilkis Bano is extremely welcome. But why does she forget what's happening in her own backyard? Today, we have no tweet that's come in from Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, who says, "Ladki hu, lad sakti hu," on what happened in Dumka. Ankita has nobody raising their voices for justice. Everybody is absolutely silent because that happened in a non-BJP ruled state. So the question tonight is it politics or are they fighting for justice for crimes against women? That is the question that bothers me most. Thank you to my panelists for joining me on debate number 1. On the other side, it is Ghulam Nabi Azad unplugged. 52 years in the Congress. And how the Congress treated him? Well, hear it in his own words. और आज हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं गुलाम नबी आज़ाद। और मिस्टर गुलाम नबी आज़ाद को किसी इंट्रोडक्शन की ज़रूरत नहीं है। 52 सालों से कांग्रेस के हर पद पर रह चुके गुलाम नबी आज़ाद अब आज़ाद हो चुके हैं। तो गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब, आदाब, नमस्कार, गुड इवनिंग। सवाल आपसे लोग यही पूछ रहे हैं आज के गुलाम नबी आज़ाद होने में इतना समय क्यों लग गया उनको?
प्रॉब्लम 14 के बाद फिर गवर्नमेंट आई, हम मिनिस्ट्री में गए तो हमारा पार्टी से नाता टूट गया। ऑफिस में बाकी साथी आए, फिर क्या हुआ। लेकिन 2013 के बाद जब राहुल जी वाइस प्रेसिडेंट बने तो एक तरीके से कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट ने बैक सीट ली, तो कंसल्टेशन हम लोगों के साथ जो था सीनियर लोगों से, वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता खत्म ही हो गया। उसके बाद हम लोगों ने ट्राई की, बहुत G20 ने ट्राई की, जॉइंटली हमने इंडिविजुअली, तो वो कांग्रेस बिगड़ती गई, सुधरी नहीं। हम लोगों की एक सजेशन नहीं मानी गई, हम लोग ह्यूमिलेट महसूस करने लगे और ये कहा कि भाई 60 साल वाले से ऊपर वाले तो रिक्वायर्ड ही नहीं है। तो आखिर में ये नतीजा आया, या घर में चुप करके बैठो, जो कि हम बैठ रहे थे अभी 2 साल से। लेकिन हमारे वर्कर और जो पॉलिटिक्स का कीड़ा है वो घर बैठने नहीं देता। इसलिए पॉलिटिक्स में जैसे अमेरिका में, पर आजाद साहब मैं आपसे सवाल पूछना, मैं यहाँ पर आपको इंटरजेक्ट करूंगी और पूछना चाहती हूँ। आपने एक चिट्ठी लिखी, 5 पेज की चिट्ठी लिखी आपने सोनिया जी को, और उसमें आपने कहा, जो कम से कम मुझे बहुत आश्चर्य करने वाला सरप्राइजिंग फैक्ट लगा, आपने कहा कि राहुल गांधी खुद तो मिलते नहीं हैं और अब की कांग्रेस में जो फैसले होते हैं वो सिक्योरिटी गार्ड और पीए करते हैं। ये कहने के पीछे आपका क्या एक्सपीरियंस है? देखो, जो डिसीजन लेते हैं उनको सबको मालूम है, कांग्रेस वालों को, क्योंकि राहुल जी, आप 1000 आदमी से लीडरों से पूछेंगे तो 900 को कहेंगे हम मिले नहीं हैं 2 साल से। और राहुल जी, उनका मैं आदर पर्सनली लेवल पे बहुत करता हूं। एक इंसान पर्सन होता है, एक गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय होता है, एक लीडर होता है। एज ए पर्सन कोई आदमी बहुत अच्छा होगा, दिल का साफ होगा, उनमें मैं राहुल गांधी को काउंट करता हूं। एज पर्सन उन्होंने हमेशा हमारी रिक्वेस्ट की, कभी अपमानित नहीं किया, रेस्पेक्ट दी। एज इंडिविजुअल मैं भी उनकी रेस्पेक्ट हमेशा करता हूं, करूंगा। लेकिन जैसे कि राव साहब हमसे बड़े थे, हमारे लीडर भी थे, हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर भी थे, हम लोगों को ड्रॉप भी कर सकते थे, नहीं किया। जितना हम वर्किंग कमेटी में उनकी नाकामियां गिनते थे और रन डाउन करते थे, उन्होंने कभी इसको बुरा नहीं माना। वो समझते हैं कि भाई पार्टी के लोग हैं तो इनका पार्टी का दर्द है। यहां हमने लेटर लिखा तो हमको तो उसी लेटर से ही जोड़ दिया कि हम बीजेपी वाले हैं। अरे जो लोग तुम्हारी मां के साथ काम किए हैं, तुम्हारे चाचा के साथ काम किए हैं, तुम्हारे बाप के साथ काम किए हैं, अगर हम बीजेपी वाले होते तो हम क्यों नहीं होते? तुम्हारी मां के साथ काम किए हैं। हम जो स्टूडेंट लाइफ से बीजेपी को गालियां देते आए हैं आज तक, एज लीडर अपोजिशन हम बीजेपी को 7 साल लीडर गालियां दे, अब आपको सलाह दी ये करो, आप नहीं करते हो तो हम बीजेपी वाले हो गए। तो प्रॉब्लम उनको जो हमने सजेशन दी उनको डाइजेस्ट नहीं होगा कि हमको कोई सजेशन दे।
आजाद साहब, आपके कहने का मतलब है कि राहुल गांधी अपनी जरा सी भी क्रिटिसिज्म एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पाते और सीनियर लोग का जो आईना दिखाना है वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पाते, आप यही कहना चाह रहे हैं?
नहीं, उनका सजेशन ये 60 से ऊपर है। अब नई दुनिया, अब नई दुनिया वाले, चलो भाई हम भी अपने आप से हैं कि हम 60 से ऊपर हैं, हमें में कोई कसूर है। लेकिन ज्योतिराव सिंधिया तो यंग हैं, लड़के हैं, इनकी टीम थी, उनमें क्या कसूर था? जितिन प्रसाद तो राहुल जी से भी छोटे हैं, उनमें क्या कसूर था? सुष्मिता देव इनसे भी छोटी थी, राहुल टीम थी, वो उसको क्या कसूर था? आरपीएन सिंह इनकी उम्र के हैं, इनके टीम के, उनको क्या कसूर था? आपने हार्दिक पटेल को, आप 28 साल 29 साल का भी है, आपने नया टीम में वर्किंग प्रेसिडेंट भी बनाया, वो 1.5 साल भी नहीं रुका, वो भी भाग गया। आपका अशोक तंवर NSU यूथ कांग्रेस का प्रेसिडेंट था और आउट ऑफ तनवर उसको आउट ऑफ द वे PCC प्रेसिडेंट बनाया, वो भी भाग गया। तो आपकी अपनी टीम जो आपकी एज के थे, आपसे छोटे थे, वो तो सभी भाग गए। हम तो कहीं पार्टी ज्वाइन नहीं किए, हमको तो आपने 60 से ऊपर पहले सभी को रिजेक्ट किया था। लेकिन आपके जो 40s और अर्ली 50s में थे, वो तो सबसे भाग गई आपकी टीम। उसकी कोई आंसर है, उसका कोई जवाब है? आपके स्पोक्स पर्सन खुशबू से लेकर, चेन्नई से लेकर, चतुर्वेदी से लेकर, और ये अभी लेटेस्ट जो
जयवीर शेरगिल
पंजाब का शेरगिल भाग गया, ये तो सब बिलो 50 हैं। ये आपके ऑफिशियल स्पोक जो आपको डिफेंड करते थे, वही आपके भाग गए। आपका मिस्टर झा बंबई से जो डिफेंड करता था, वो तो आपको 2 साल पहले पार्टी से ही निकाल दिया। तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है? कहाँ है प्रॉब्लम? मानो भाई गुलाम नबी आजाद में प्रॉब्लम है। आपके हिसाब से गुलाम नबी आजाद मोदी से मिले, क्या ये सब मोदी से मिले थे? और अगर मोदी से मिले थे तो फिर आपकी टीम में क्यों थे? फिर आपने सेलेक्ट क्यों किया था? उसका कोई आंसर है?
आपको लगता है कि राहुल गांधी बहुत छोटे दिल का प्रदर्शन किया है उन्होंने?
मैं उनकी बात नहीं करती, जो तमाम चोखड़ी सिस्टम और उनके कान भरती है नजदीक आने के लिए, क्योंकि उनका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड 0 है। जो आसपास के लोग हैं, पार्टी में रहने का, पार्टी की कुर्बानी लेने का। मैंने मिसेस गांधी को बताया कई दफा कि आपने मुझे कर्नाटक का जनरल सेक्रेटरी बनाया, वहां जनता दल की गवर्नमेंट थी और दिल्ली में बीजेपी। मैं 1 साल वहां रहा, 800 पब्लिक मीटिंग की और सब गांव ब्लॉक खुद छान मारे, 40 लीडरों के साथ बस में ट्रैवल किया 1 साल, और दिल्ली सिर्फ 2 दफा आया 2 दिन के लिए 1 साल में। आंध्रा दिया, 1.5 साल रहा, फर्स्ट फेज, सेकंड फेज, थर्ड फेज, 5th फेज, हैदराबाद 1.5 साल में सिर्फ 2 दफा 2 रात के लिए आया, दिल्ली में 2 दफा 2-2 दिन के लिए आया। बाकी मैंने सब देहात और गांव में सरपंचों के गुजारे और 1500 पब्लिक मीटिंगें की। लेकिन आपके आज के जनरल सेक्रेटरी, तो तब वो सब स्टेटें आई। मिसेस गांधी ने 8 स्टेटें मुझे दी, 98 से लेकर 4 तक, 8 में से 7 जीती, और उन 7 में से एक ही जगह गवर्नमेंट थी, पांडिचेरी, कोलेशन। लेकिन इलेक्शन के वक्त कोई कोलेशन नहीं थी, दोनों भाग गए, तो हमने अकेले में गवर्नमेंट जीत ली। तो 8 में से 7 किसी का रिकॉर्ड हिंदुस्तान में नहीं है जनरल सेक्रेटरी का। तो कहा आज के क्यों लोग नहीं जीतते हैं जनरल सेक्रेटरी? मैंने कहा यहां से जाते हैं।
पर आजाद साहब, कुछ लोग कहते हैं कि आपका राज्यसभा लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन का जब टर्म खत्म हुआ तो आपको दोबारा नहीं दी गई राज्यसभा की सीट, इसीलिए आप रूठ गए और आप पार्टी के खिलाफ हो गए। इस चार्ज पर आप क्या कहेंगे?
थोड़ा अगर वो चार्ज लगाना आसान है, लेकिन उसके लिए दिमाग भी चाहिए। जो ये बोलते हैं प्लीज अगर अपना नहीं है उधार लाए, तो ये तो जब फैसले हों, हम रिक्वायर्ड ही नहीं है, तो आप हमसे पूछते हो कि चले गए। अरे चले गए, मैं तो 2 साल 1.5 साल से बैठा हूं। मैं ना पार्लियामेंट मेंबर हूं, ना कोई असाइनमेंट में हूं, न मैं कैंपेन कमेटी का कहीं मेंबर हूं, न मैं जनरल सेक्रेटरी हूं। तो मेरे घर बैठने से और मिलता मैं हूं विदाउट बीइंग ऑफिस बेयर। सारे हिंदुस्तान को कांग्रेसियों को जानता हूं, गैर कांग्रेसियों को भी जानता हूं। हर स्टेट में डीएमके से लेकर नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस तक, सीपीएम से सीपीआई से लेकर पीडीपी तक सब पार्टी हिंदुस्तान के जानता हूं। तो मैं उनसे तो 12-13 घंटे मिलता रहता हूं, लेकिन मैं टिकट किसी को दिला सकता हूं, मैं किसी को ब्लॉक का पद दिला सकता हूं। जब मैं ये 13-14 घंटे आज भी बैठ के काम करता हूं 1.5 साल से, तो बेहतर है जिस पार्टी को हमारी कोई सजेशन लेने की भी जरूरत नहीं है, हमसे कंसल्टेशन की भी जरूरत नहीं है, तो इस बेहतर है इस घर को छोड़ो, अपना घर तो इज्जत से बनाओ और अपनी बुद्धि के हिसाब से जो 50% कांग्रेस छोड़ के गई है, एमएलए छोड़ के गए हैं, एक्स मिनिस्टर छोड़ के गए हैं जम्मू कश्मीर में, तो अब जो 50% बचे हैं उन 50% को तो बचाओ। बेसिकली एडवाइस नहीं समझते हैं, उनके दिमाग में ये 60 से ऊपर दे आर नॉट रिक्वायर्ड, दे आर बोगस। हाँ, 60 से ऊपर वाला अगर कहेगा जी हुजूर जो आप कह रहे हैं ठीक है, तब वो ठीक है, लेकिन 60 से ऊपर वाला कहेगा आप गलत कह रहे हो, तो फिर देन ही इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड, ही और शी इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड। 60 से ऊपर अगर 80+ भी है, अभी उनके साथ 80+ भी है, तो वो अगर कहेंगे जो आप ठीक करते हो सुबह को सुबह, रात को सुबह कहेंगे तो वो कहेंगे हाँ सुबह ही है, और दिन को कहे रात है तो वो कहेंगे हाँ ठीक है, तो तब तो ठीक हो आप।
तो
आप कहेंगे नहीं नहीं,
यानी कि साइकोफेंसी एक प्री रेक्विजिट है।
यू आर नॉट गुड।
साइकोफेंसी प्री रेक्विजिट है।
आई हैव रिटन, I have written that. I have written साइकोफेंस जब तक चलाएंगे, और हमारे मेरे एक कोलीग ने who is still very close to them and was very close to them, has been a very senior minister even in the last government, और एक रीजन से बिलोंग करते हैं, हालांकि he was not signatory टू लेटर, लेकिन जब फेस टू हम फेस मिले तो उन्होंने अपनी भाषा में, जो उनकी भाषा हिंदी में नहीं है, साउथ इंडियन है, उसने साउथ इंडियन एक पोइट साउथ इंडियन में बताया और उसका अंग्रेजी में ट्रांसलेशन किया। द किंग्स फ्रेंड्स आर वेल विशर्स आर दोज हु आर हिज क्रिटिक्स, एंड किंग्स एनिमीज आर दोज हु आर साइकोफेंट्स। सीनियर आदमी, मुझसे भी सीनियर है,
तो आज वो कहां है?
पदों में मुझसे सीनियर है,
आज वो कहां है?
और टॉप पोस्ट पे रहे हैं। वो आज वो इनके साथ है।
आप पी चिदम्बरम की बात कर रहे हैं?
हाँ, तो अब मैं अब नाम नहीं लूंगा किसकी है।
नहीं, पर दुनिया तो समझ ही जाएगी।
हाँ, लेकिन उन्होंने कहा, एंड ही वॉज नॉट G23, but he requested me that I should put his name in my 10. So ये सब we have exhausted. तो उसके बाद क्या ऑप्शन रहा?
मुझे गुलाम नबी आजाद साहब एक बात बताइए, अगर राहुल गांधी प्रेसिडेंट बनना नहीं चाहते तो और विकल्प है क्या कांग्रेस के पास? क्या प्रियंका गांधी वाड्रा को बनना चाहिए कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट, हालांकि वो उत्तर प्रदेश 2 बार हार चुकी है?
मेरे कुलीग आनंद शर्मा ने बताया अभी हफ्ता भर, why are you not talking of Congress president? Why are you talking Rahul Gandhi, sorry, Priyanka Gandhi? अरे कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट इज कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट। आप क्यों नहीं ये बताते कि भाई कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट चाहिए नया? वाई आर यू गिविंग लिमिटेड सजेशन ओनली? आई हैव नो हिच इन राहुल गांधी बिकमिंग प्रियंका गांधी बिकमिंग। प्रियंका गांधी इज लाइक डॉटर टू मी, बट वाई आर यू कांग्रेस नॉट गोइंग आउट ऑफ दिस सर्कल?
मैं ये भी पूछना चाहती हूं कि कभी CWC या सीनियर लेवल की मीटिंग पे इस बात पर चर्चा हुई कि राहुल गांधी फुल टाइम पॉलिटिशियन नहीं है? आए दिन उनकी खबर आती है कि वो अब्रॉड चले गए हैं और ये उनके लिए एक बहुत आलोचना का विषय है।
आप अगर हमारी G20 लेटर में पहला सजेशन देंगे, वी वांट फुल टाइम प्रेसिडेंट एंड हु कैन मीट पीपल एंड हु इज विजिबल, डजंट इट टेल एवरीथिंग? फुल टाइम प्रेसिडेंट हु इज विजिबल एंड समथिंग एल्स वी दो और सुपरलेटिव्स दे, डजंट इट से एवरीथिंग? बिसाइड्स के वर्किंग कमेटी का इलेक्शन हो, इलेक्शन कमेटी का हो, पीसीसी, डीसीसी, बीसीसी, लेकिन प्रेसिडेंट के द कांग्रेस नीड्स फुल टाइम प्रेसिडेंट. फुल टाइम्स मीन्स 24/7 and a visible president, not hide and seek president, not guest artist.
Is Rahul Gandhi a guest artist?
So that speaks everything. I'm not saying that. We have so many general secretaries as guest artists, so many office bearers guest artists. If you go a particular state in the morning and come back in the evening, have boarding card from here, they are guest artists. They are not even guest artists, they are guest appearance. So it is at every level.
तो जो लोग आपको कहते हैं कि GNA यानी गुलाम नबी आजाद GNA का DNA अब मोदी का हो गया है, उन्हें आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
जो ये सुनिए, जो हमें कहते हैं हमारा मोदी का हुआ, वो चेक करेंगे उनका 10-15 पार्टीज का होगा.
कौन सी पार्टीज?
और जो ये कहते हैं उनको मैं और जो ये कहते हैं, जब वो पहली दफा मैं उनसे मिला, वो एक नॉन कांग्रेस पार्टी में जो सरकार थी उसके जो मंत्री थे उसके ओएसडी थे. तो नॉन कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार के मंत्री के ओएसडी से वो मेरा DNA चेक नहीं कर सकता.
गुलाम नबी आजाद, जाते जाते आपसे सिर्फ एक सवाल पूछूंगी। राहुल गांधी जी के लिए कोई एडवाइस, क्योंकि जब आप कांग्रेस में थे तो आपकी सुनी नहीं जाती थी, आज कोई ऐसी हिदायत, कोई ऐसी एडवाइस आप देना चाहते हो राहुल गांधी को?
तो सोनिया जी के लिए दुआ है कि वो स्वस्थ रहे, सेहतमंद रहे, हेल्दी रहे, लंबी आयु हो। राहुल गांधी खुश रहे, लंबी उम्र हो, हैप्पी रहे, लंबी बहुत आयु अच्छी रहे, विदेश आना जाना उनका जारी रहे, उसमें वो ज्यादा खुश रहे और वो तरक्की करें, जिस फील्ड में है, जहां भी रहें, खुश रहें।
पॉलिटिक्स में तरक्की की उम्मीद,
ये मेरी दुआ। पॉलिटिक्स में अगर कांग्रेस को ठीक कर सकते हैं तो बहुत अच्छा, प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनते और अच्छा बात है, मुझे खुशी होगी।
गुलाम नबी आजाद, बहुत
लेकिन कांग्रेस को ठीक करने के लिए
जी
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। बहुत नाविका जी, बहुत शुक्रिया। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू।
You were watching the News Hour at 9. Stay tuned.
For the opinionated, for the unsure, for dinner time debaters, from metro stations to living rooms.
We present the facts and help India make a judgment. From stories that shake the nation to opinions that shape them, I delve deep into the biggest news of the day and uncover every fact, every source, and every statement through debate and discussion. Get a 360-degree perspective on every story and get a conclusive closure. Join me, Navika Kumar, on the News Hour at 9, only on Times Now.
party symbol, flag of Bharatiya Janata Party is also there. But what is more shocking is this a particular sticker which has been on the windshield of this car, which says that Vidhayak Vidhan Sabha Sachivalaya, Gadi number 0505. I'm sorry, it's a UP 32HH0001.
You're watching the News Hour at 9.
Ghulam Nabi Azad takes jibe at Rahul Gandhi's hug to Prime Minister Modi in Parliament. Not me who is entangled with Modi, it is him. Three more Congress leaders, including former Deputy Speaker Ghulam Nabi Malik, announced their resignation from the party in support of Azad. In a latest development in Sonali Phogat death mystery, Goa CM Pramod Sawant said that all accused in the case have been arrested. A special court has dismissed the bail petition of former NSE CEO Chitra Ramakrishna in connection with phone tapping and money laundering case.
You were watching the News Hour at 9. Stay tuned.
पता करिए उनसे कि 15 लड़के कैसे इस सोसाइटी में अपनी सोसाइटी देखेंगे। इससे बड़ी शर्म की बात नहीं हो सकती।
I am saying some things that are maybe not the easiest thing in the world to hear. I'm not sitting here or standing here promising you tens and tens of billions of pounds of goodies straight away, because I don't think that's the right thing to do for our economy. But I want to be honest with you. I want to be straight with the country about the challenges we face and what is going to be required to fix them. And that's why I think you can trust me on this, because I'm prepared to do that, even though it's going to cost me politically.
film's failure left producer Aditya Chopra fuming, who reportedly put all the blame on Akshay Kumar. Well, Akshay Kumar, who is known for juggling several projects at a time, has not been able to achieve desired results this year.
Good evening and welcome to the News Hour at 10 agenda. I'm Madhav. Now, can celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi on a ground that is accessible to the public otherwise lead to religious tensions? That is the question that Supreme Court will be answering tomorrow as it hears the Karnataka Waqf Board's objection to Chaturthi celebrations at Chamrajpet Idgah Maidan. This comes after the Karnataka High Court invoked our civilizational values to permit the state government to allow Hindu groups to hold celebrations. Emphasizing on India's tolerant outlook towards culture and tradition, opposition as a reason for its decision. The Waqf board is now seeing red over this green light, claiming that the ground belongs to the board, a claim that has been countered by the state. Now, the government insists that the ownership of disputed land does not lie with the Waqf board and court orders must reign supreme, but the opposition disagrees.
मुझे लगता है ऐसा नहीं होगा। गणेश फेस्टिवल बहुत ज़बरदस्ती से हर जगह में होगा। कोर्ट न्याय दिया है, सभी कोर्ट का न्याय पालन करने का ज़रूरत है। हम भी पालन करेंगे, वक्फ बोर्ड भी पालन करेंगे।
So it is a very sensitive issue. We all know that Idgah was there for last, as a child I've been seeing Idgah, it is there for last 40, 50, 60 years, and right now the title of Idgah, whether it belongs to Waqf board or it belongs to the revenue department, it belongs to BBMP, it is absolutely unsure. So Waqf board has absolutely all the right to go to the court. But however, we would like to say that this has to be resolved at a personal level. Both the communities have to come forward.
Even as the ownership dispute is pending in court, here's why the Waqf's decision to contest the High Court's order reeks of inflexibility and parochialism. The High Court has made it clear that the land must be utilized for Republic Day and Independence Day celebrations. It must also be open for the public and has only allowed Muslims to use the land to celebrate Ramzan and Bakrid. In fact, 3 days back, the division bench of the High Court had left the decision of land use for religious events to the discretion of the state. So the question now is, if public places are being utilized for religious activities like Muharram, Namaz, and that is acceptable, why is permission for Ganesh Chaturthi raising hackles?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
All right, our guests are joining us. With us is Mohan Krishna, spokesperson of the BJP. Anurag Naidu, author, is with us. With us also is Shoaib Jamai, president of the Indian Muslim Foundation. Tausif Ahmed is an advocate. Atikur Rahman is an Islamic scholar. And Kamruzaman Chaudhary is leader of the Congress. Let me start with Atikur Rahman. Atikur Rahman, simple question to you. You know what the High Court has said. The High Court has spoken about fostering brotherhood and peace. And in such a situation, why should such a judgment be objected to? Because all that the High Court has said is that everyone should be flexible and they've left it to the discretion of the state government. Is that something that can really be objected to?
Madhav, pardon my ignorance, but I want to know, is this the final outcome of the judgment? Is this the final judgment? I believe it is a sub judice matter and it's an interim relief. And if it is an interim relief, as far as my knowledge goes of law, interim relief cannot be larger than the outcome of the final judgment. So if it is sub judice, how can only one community, and that too, we are in the know of the things that elections are pending in Karnataka, and the Karnataka government is coming day in and day out with all such communal issues.
Okay.
So in this way, there will be a wide divide between the Muslims and the Hindus.
No, but the Supreme Court is yet to adjudicate on this matter, sir. The court is going to take up this matter on the 30th. That is, of course, tomorrow. But until the time that the court either grants a stay or gives some kind of interim order, that is the law. That is what the High Court has said.
That's the point. That's the point, Madhav. Madhav, the interim relief should not be larger than the ultimate outcome of the petitions. That's problematic.
But that's fine.
That's the judiciary is somehow,
see, nobody can second guess what the Supreme Court is going to do. Neither you can nor can I. But at this point of time, all we are saying is that if the court has spoken, I just want to read out what the court has said. It's very important. The Constitution fosters brotherhood amongst various sections of society. The principle of religious toleration is a characteristic of Indian civilization. Now, when this is a High Court saying this, certainly it has to be given some amount of importance, I would say. But anyway, all eyes on the Supreme Court. Let me bring in Mohan Krishna of the BJP on this. Mohan Krishna, you're only raising this matter before the courts. It's in a series of incidents, as Atikur Rahman says, to polarize, to divide in the name of religion. That is the allegation coming in from Atikur Rahman. Please respond to him.
Good evening, Madhav. Atikur Rahman has to remember certain things. Whenever certain elections are there round the corner, this kind of polarization issue is started by these people. High Court in its order has clearly said from 31/8 onwards it can be used for religious purposes. There were some petitions, there were some applications. Deputy Commissioner has applied, has requested the High Court. As per that, the order has been given. I would like to ask a simple question to Atikur Rahman today. Is it not the Ganapati festival an Indian festival, Mr. Atikur Rahman? Are you not an Indian today? Why are you so opposed today? Let me ask you a simple, another question to you.
Okay.
Mr. Atikur Rahman, if the Maidan, if the playground is there, if it can be used for anybody for that matter, is there any religious constraints for that? That's not there. You agree, then
Fine,
I will
like
ask you another question.
Okay.
The board have been given
Okay, one second.
ample of time.
Multiple hands going up. Shoaib Jamai, I see your hand, but I'm going to let Atikur Rahman respond first because Mohan Krishna has addressed the question to him. Atikur Rahman.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Mohan Krishna, you have asked a very pertinent question that the entire ground should be used by all communities. By the same yardstick, Mr. Krishna, why have you barred the Muslim shopkeepers from outside the mandirs? It was your circular, your objection, even to the meat shop
Please talk
of the
about
Muslims
this Maidan.
in around the area of the mandirs.
You are supposed to talk
and the
about
temples.
this, not about
Muslims are part
that.
and
You go
parcel
to
of
the court
same
for that
society.
also.
Sir, you are creating a
Mr.
divide
Atikur Rahman.
amongst the major communities of India. You are polarizing, and it's only for your benefit of electoral politics
We are not dividing.
that you are doing
You
so.
are upset with your own decisions. See, you are in India and you should follow the Indian
Sir, okay,
Indian
then you
law
will be
and
allowing
order.
the Muslim shopkeepers
Indian
and
law and order.
outside
High Court has
temples.
said that
The matter
you
is
can
okay.
utilize it
The
for
matter is resolved,
religious
sir.
purposes for
Madhav,
anybody for
ask
that
him-
matter. Is it only for
Madhav,
Hamas
ask
and
him, will
Idgah?
the state government permit all the Muslim shopkeepers doing business outside the temples?
Let me come in now. We have Ratan Sharda also joining us on the panel. Gentlemen, one second. I see many hands going up, but there are many panelists yet to speak. So let me go across to others as well, one by one. Let me first and foremost address this issue with Shoaib Jamai. Shoaib Jamai, there is one aspect that the BJP has spoken about, which is that this is land and its ownership of the Waqf itself is being challenged. Because here you have the state government that says that this is revenue land, that an opportunity was given by the BBMP for the Waqf to prove its ownership over this land, and they were given about a month and a half, but they could not produce documents of ownership. And the government is now claiming that this is revenue land. So Waqf cannot claim ownership over this land, is their contention that they've gone to the court with.
First of all, everyone should know that there is a Waqf Act, and the jurisdiction of the Waqf land is very limited. Waqf land is not taxpayers, does not run by the taxpayers' money. Waqf land is not a public property because Waqf means the donation, and all the Waqf land has been donated by the Muslim community for the welfare of the Muslim community. It's a
no, but this is not Waqf land is what I'm saying. That's
property.
exactly the point I'm making. The government's contention is that this is not Waqf land. This belongs to the revenue department. That is the contention that the BJP and the government is making.
No, there may be some discrete cases of that some land belongs to the Waqf board or not, that's the another matter. But if somebody generalized that, why don't you allow the Ganpati celebration or other celebration in the Waqf land, that's why I specifically said what is the use of the Waqf land and what is the jurisdiction. And the second thing,
you know, we can't generalize this case. This is exactly, these are all material to this particular case. One second.
It's misleading.
One second. Let me, Shoaib Jamai, let me just make it very clear. We are discussing a very specific case over here. We are discussing the Idgah Maidan in Chamarajpet in Bengaluru. And that specific case is what we're talking about, where the court has said that apart from 4 days where Ramzan and Eid can be celebrated, and also the days of Republic Day and Independence Day, all other days it will remain a playground. And therefore the question that comes with the state government being empowered by the High Court to allow for Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations is that why should that not happen? Why can both sides not, in the spirit of brotherhood, come out and allow for the celebrations of each other's religion? Since there is a unique case over here.
Yeah, I know about this Chamarajpet, that land, because I stayed in Bangalore for 5 years, and I knew about it, that this is the Waqf land, and the interim relief given by the Supreme Court is itself a reflection that there is some strong point with the petitioner from the Muslim side. And the second very important point, does this
what is the relief given,
secularism means creating...
I'm sorry, is there any relief that has been given today? I'm not aware of this relief that you're talking about. What is the relief that the court has given?
No, Madhav, he is lying. He is lying.
One second, Mohan Krishna, I'm asking him the question. Yeah, please tell us, what is the relief granted by the Supreme Court today, in your view?
Supreme Court has allowed to challenge this matter of High Court in Supreme Court.
Okay, so the Supreme Court is going to hear this. Supreme Court is going to hear this. Relief at the moment has not been given. Okay, just to get the facts right, yes.
Very important point I want to ask. Just give me 10 seconds. Sir, just want to ask you one thing. There is a Ram Mandir temple and there is acres of land which belongs to Ram Mandir and Akhada Parishad. Will you allow each celebration in Ram Mandir temple or in Akhada Parishad land? You have objected in Bihar when a Muslim minister in BJP of Bihar have visited a temple in Gaya, and the BJP wing of the Bihar has objected strongly to it. How will you say that you are following the secularism and the brotherhood concept of the country?
Okay.
You are not following, sir. You are doing your own. You are creating a rift and tension.
The problem here is the difference of ownership. There's a slightly different scenario over here, but all right.
No, I don't believe.
Yeah, I'm going to let Anurag Naidu respond to that. I'm going to let Anurag Naidu come in on this. Anurag Naidu, this will open up a can of worms. The question will be asked the other way around also. Shoaib Jumai says, please respond to him. Can the cases be compared? Can Ram Temple issue and this case be compared?
No, absolutely not. That's the mistake we are doing time and again, Madhav, and that's why we're never able to kind of go forward from this communal debates and discussions. The only reason is whenever we talk categorically about one case, we always try to link up with multiple cases which are far more different in nature. This particular case, leaving about all the litigations and the legal complications, everyone understands and everyone agrees that it is a conflict of title in the Supreme Court. It is a matter of ownership, and I don't want to say this land has a religious importance or not. It's for the courts to comment on this, and it is sub judice. But let me complete, sir. It's a different issue. The conflict was whether there was a mosque and it was brought down a temple. I don't want to get into that. About this land, it was a very legitimate argument by one side that has gone to the High Court, and High Court has given certain decision. We are awaiting judgment from the Supreme Court. I am saying, why should we not, all of us together, advocate for celebrating? Let this land be used for Ramadan. Let this land be used for, iftars. Let this land, same land be used for Ganesh Chaturthi. What's wrong? Why can't we have a secular or a brotherhood? Why can't we all promote? Why don't we have discussions in this line? And why do we go back to other cases and try to inflate emotions, try to incite passions? That's not what India stands for.
All these days, there was only namaz
and
Bakrid.
Gentlemen, one by one, please. One by one. There are several who have not yet spoken. I'm going to come to each of you.
Why the other community also?
Okay. Kamru Zaman Chaudhary. Now, what was very... One second, gentlemen, please. There is enough time. Let's go one by one. Kamru Zaman Chaudhary, simple question that is being asked at this point of time is that this is not a dispute that has started today. The contestation of this property was first challenged in 1955, and there was a gazette notification in 65 that was issued, but the board did not claim the khata, which could have been done within 3 years of the court verdict, and therefore the ownership is a subject of debate. So the question that I'm saying today, the only point I'm making today is that this is not a new debate. There are many who suggest that this is some kind of a new aspect that has been brought in by the BJP, but the contention is that this has happened before as well, and it is not a new dispute in that sense.
Well, Madhav, good evening to you and the fellow panelist out here. Let me just remind you that this dispute, as you have stated, is from 1955. But as far as my knowledge goes, this Idgah existed from 1898. And in 1965, the Gazette notification that you mentioned is already there. In most important moot point, whatever with the title dispute or who owns the land, whether it is the Waqf Board land or the Revenue Department land, once an Idgah has already been declared in the Gazette notification, this remains a places of religious worship. Now this remains as a religious places worship, and it's protected by the 1991 Places of Religious Worship Act. This is the first point.
Second point is that you just remember the last 25th judgment that the High Court, Honorable High Court, gave a status quo be maintained on this particular property. Immediately on the next day, that is today, the division bench immediately changed and overturned the entire ruling and said that, okay, this needs to be a public property. It can be used by anybody. I'm fine, I don't have any problem with that. But you need to see through the games of the Bharatiya Janata Party government out here. I'm not talking about the Karnataka government alone out here. You look, if you want to declare India as a Hindu Rashtra, we don't have any problem. Go ahead and declare it. You said minorities don't have right to worship. Minorities don't have any right in this India.
Okay.
That also is fine, but
Ratan Sharda, I want Ratan Sharda to come in on this point. Okay, you made your point, sir. Let Ratan Sharda come in on this. Ratan Sharda, allegation was twofold. A, that if there is a gazette notification, Kamru Zaman Chaudhary's interpretation is that that has already been declared a place of worship. So there is some attempt at changing that status quo. And of course, his direct charge is that minorities are not being allowed worship. Please respond on these counts.
First of all, when namaz is offered in a temple and offered the space by the Hindus, everybody cheers.
Right? This is secularism ho gaya, Ganga Jamuna ho gaya, bahut kuch ho gaya. When Ganesh Mandap is sought to be put in a Idgah, how does it change the character? It's just 10-day function. Even Idgah Maidan has been allowed to be used only twice a year, for Ramzan and Eid. So what do you do for the balance 363 days? Aren't people using it? If you think that we can live together, why can't the Maidan be used by the Hindus for a temporary function? What is your problem? So Hindus should keep away from the Maidan, though they are going to use only for 2 days, whose ownership is under dispute.
Mr. Ratan Sharda,
I am not even getting to legal issues. Hindu Rashtra, no Hindu Rashtra. Under Hindu Rashtra, as somebody...
One at a time, please. Let him make his point. Let him finish.
Don't shout.
Go ahead, Mr. Sharda. Go ahead.
I am making a simple point. If this is so, Madras High Court has said Muslims objected to a Ganesh idol in an area where majority is Muslim. Now the High Court says, seek the permission of the Jamaat from there if want to host a Ganesh function. This is about secularism, that High Court will also allow, only the Muslim brothers allow. Are we living in a banana republic? Are we living in banana secularism or real secularism? Please tell me, do you agree with that? That in a Muslim majority area, I have to seek permission. Do you ask Muslims to seek permission for a Hindu majority area for taking out a tazi or whatever? We never object. If you say this is a sacred place, then why do you offer namaz on the roads? Are roads very sacred? Are the roads permanent worship place then? So please don't make incorrigible arguments.
Okay.
It's a space which can be shared very easily without disturbing.
One second.
Shoaib Jamai,
one second. Yeah.
And we are just creating discord because you want to put your veto power. Again, Madras High Court judgment, reason.
Okay.
They've also gone to Supreme Court for one more case where the situation is a permitted activity for some limited period.
Yes.
They've gone to Supreme Court.
Right.
So you don't want to live in peace. You don't
well,
want
the
to
court has to. The court is yet to adjudicate. The Supreme Court yet to adjudicate on this. Ratan Sharda, but important point that you made, a very important point. I'm going to take in Tausif Ahmed on this as well. Tausif Ahmed, I think Ratan Sharda has one point. He says that it is not an area where there is exclusive rights to pray with the Muslim community. That's there just for 2 days in a year. So what is the harm if Ganesh Chaturthi is also allowed there? Because this is not exclusively a place where only Muslims can worship. That is the contention of Ratan Sharda. Please respond to that.
It is an exclusive place.
One second.
No.
Yeah.
Mr. Ratan Sharda either he has a very flawed understanding, or he is trying to be so innocent. If you were talking about a road, a street where namaz is offered, then yes, all people of all faith has right to hold their religious gathering as well in road or street. But this particular property is a waqf property. This particular property is a defined Idgah.
That is what is challenged, sir.
Idgah,
that itself is under dispute.
Which is owned
by Muslim
community.
Even if it is waqf property, why can't you allow?
I don't like this. No. Please do not interrupt me. Let me finish. Give me uninterrupted 30 seconds. I am saying if it was about a street or a road, or people of all faith have equal right. But if today we are talking about Idgah, which is a property owned by Muslim landlord, dedicated in the name of Allah for the welfare of the community. They're earmarked as an Idgah where prayers will be offered during the Eid, and rest of the year it is used as a playground. It is a very well defined and established concept
so
of
you
law.
can have a playground.
Mr. Savda may have not studied the law, or Mr. Savda may choose to be biased today. But that does not
Why
change
you can have a playground,
that does not change it.
but not have a Ganesh Mandap there?
May
Why do you hate Hindus so much? Why do you hate Hindus so much?
Hindu Rashtra.
Why can't Hindus have a mandap if you can allow the play? Are Hindus accepting? Are Hindus demanding the right over the land? No, they are not demanding the right over the land. They are asking allow us standards of festivities. So your secularism is only for Muslims, but not for Hindus. So harmony has to be kept by the Hindus, not by the Muslims. If your Waqf property, would you not give it to Hindu brothers? If you want to offer namaz in Gurudwara or in temple?
Clear case. No. Go and use the streets and roads. It belongs to everyone. Public property is for
even
everyone.
Ground, if you can give it to for play, why can't you give it for Ganpati Mandap? And did you answer why a Hindu has to gain permission of Muslim Jamaat in an area where Muslims are majority? What is the secularism of the secularism? Where I have to seek permission because there is majority Muslim? Have you answered that? Have you answered why Hindus cannot have a Ganpati because the area is majority Muslim? Are we living in India or are we living in Pakistan?
Okay. Let me come in now. Let me come in on this now, and I want to ask some questions of the other side as well. That because the state government, Mohan Krishna, many would say that there is a deliberate attempt at polarization. We have seen the hijab row, we have seen the azan row. We are now seeing there's a meat pan that has been announced in Ganesh Chaturthi, and now this entire dispute over Idgah Maidan. So there are several people who are saying that all this is done with a view to next year's elections. There's an attempt to polarize by the state government on the BJP. Please respond to that specific charge.
You forgot about the Savarkar issue also.
Madhav,
all right,
let me answer to you categorically. We are not here to seek votes on polarization issue. This is the other people who are doing. Congress and JDS, they are fighting for Muslim vote bank. They are fighting for that. Let me ask a simple question to them today.
But Congress and JDS did not go to the High Court, sir. Your government went.
How can... Let me answer, Madhav. Our government, on the petitions, on the applications received by the people, they have gone to the court and they have requested. They have just said, tomorrow it should not be a problem, saying that why people have not, government has not said this. They have gone. Court has given the order. If the court has said no, we have to go as per the status quo. We would have gone by that. Government of the day is here to implement the law, whatever the High Court gives the order. High Court or the Supreme Court for that matter. We accept that judiciary is intelligent. Why not these people understand? Why not these people understand? This intelligent.
High Court ने कहा कि Lord Speaker से आजान देना किसी के
अधिकार का हनन नहीं करता है। क्या आप इस बात को मानेंगे? Given by them.
Now that Supreme Court has already said that there are decibel levels.
Not given by the government.
Shoaib Jamai, decibel levels the Supreme Court has already adjudicated on. We know that. That is settled law.
Court has allowed to do Ganesh Chaturthi and now it's been challenged in Supreme Court. Now you say that if the court has said Karnataka court has said कि Lord Speaker से आजान देना किसी के विशेष अधिकार को हनन नहीं करता है, तो क्या
why can't you allow even if it is yours tomorrow?
राजनीति नहीं होनी चाहिए?
Don't you want harmony? Is it the one way? One way you want to ask for the people?
Okay, Atikur Rahman wants to come in on that. Atikur Rahman. All right, Mohan Krishna. Atikur Rahman wants to come in on that. Atikur Rahman.
Look at the paradox.
What is the paradox?
Look at the paradox, Madhav. The people who do not allow 10-minute Friday prayers, they are demanding in the name of secularism, which they do not believe, a 10-day Ganesh Chaturthi festival on the Idgah Maidan.
Who has stopped Friday prayers, sir?
And a double speak.
Who has stopped Friday prayers?
You know, in the name of secularism, we
No, 1 second. Let's go one by one. It's a very serious charge you are leveling here. Who has?
They have claimed Friday prayers on streets as a land jihad.
No, they are saying.
Friday prayers for them is a land jihad for them.
Okay, Anurag Naidu. If Friday prayers are land jihad, then how can this be allowed? How can this be allowed as a contention of Atiq Ahmed? Please, Atikur Rahman, please respond to him.
Madhav, just as you rightly said, he has to first justify when did anyone say that Friday namaz was something wrong. No, we do give you every freedom and we do give you every right to pray. But the point is here, time and again, the contention or the kind of point that you're trying to make is this land belongs to Waqf. If it is for the courts and the High Court and the Supreme Court and the courts of the country and the law of the land to decide, and till that time, this matter is sub judice, and whatever court decides, even now, one side, if it's kind of rejoicing that they've got a verdict on their side, it is on the basis of a High Court's decision, not that, they felt that, I need to go there and set up a pandal or a mandal. Now, tomorrow, if the Supreme Court stocks it down, I mean, we will accept it with wholeheartedly. We will accept it. Nobody is going to reject anything because we believe in the law of land. We believe in the courts of the country.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you believe in the courts of the country, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, then let's wait for the Supreme Court to come out and give its decision on this. Because as of now, we have to go by what the High Court has said. Because that is the only order that we have before us at the moment.
Wait, let me just tell you. Was there any pressure group that Ganesh festival has to be offered on that particular land if it was not celebrated earlier years? Now, this particular point that they have to observe Ganesh Chaturthi on this particular ground.
Sir, in a crowded city area, if there is a Maidan, and obviously there would be demand for an open Maidan to be used for festivities.
When you accepted, Madhav, when you accept that this is sub judice matter, and it has to be
that's a demand
heard by the Supreme Court.
One second, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, there's a demand. Certain groups have made a demand on the basis of which the state government went to the court. The court has given the state government the permission. Now that has been challenged before the Supreme Court. So, no, now that has been challenged before the Supreme Court.
These particular groups, why suddenly out of the blue they are coming today and in order to disturb the peace of Karnataka.
This is the exact point I was addressing earlier, Kamruzaman Chaudhary. The dispute is from 55. It is not something that is coming up today. Ratan Sharda. Sharda, it's an attempt to disturb the status quo. Why are these groups coming up today? That's the question that is coming from Kamruzaman Chaudhary.
Why Ganesh Mandal creates communal tension? Please tell me. Why? Why should Ganesh Mandal create communal disharmony? Has it ever happened? No, sir. This is what you want. You don't want Hindu-Muslims to stay together, work together, celebrate together. That doesn't want them to create partitions where they cannot share each other place or whatever. And you are saying communal tension क्यों भैया? मद्रास में communal tension हो जाएगा. High Court बोलता है क्योंकि Muslim majority है. Hindu majority area में why there is no tension? Why tension is always a Muslim majority area? Are they claiming the land? No. They just want a good place where more people can come together for 10 days, but you can't allow that. So all this Ganga Jamuna flows only for Muslims. Hindus must be remaining a desert. That is your attitude. The way you are responding, it clearly shows you don't want harmony. You will create artificial tension. You will create artificial communal disturbances, and you will start claiming that only we have a right. Sorry, this will not work.
One important point, and I want to just remind our viewers that the same Ganesh Chaturthi was actually used by Lokmanya Tilak to fight for our independence, and then it was a symbol of people coming together. Tausif Ahmed, what has happened that something that was used on a common uniting factor against the British, how has that become something of a symbol that is dividing our society? That's something that's part of our shared history. Surely you also read that. You also know about the importance of Ganesh Chaturthi in our freedom struggle in parts of central and southern India. Why has that now become such a point of contention? And is it a point of contention or has it been made one?
Absolutely, I agree with you. The letter, I would expect that this dispute that is being trying to create in line with Ayodhya dispute, the BJP government of Karnataka is trying to have some kind of Bangalore's Ayodhya dispute, that people will wake up. Both communities, people will come and say that do not infringe upon the rights of minorities. The land belonging to minorities, do not go and forcefully grab that land. That is against the principles of the religion as well. And I'm sure there are thousands of Ganesh devotees who will offer land elsewhere. I'm sure there are thousands of Ganesh devotees in the city of Bangalore itself who will offer money to purchase a separate land and build a new temple elsewhere rather than than trying to
आज
grab
10 दिन का प्रोग्राम के लिए आप इतना बोल दे रहे हैं
to another Ganesh temple. And we must pray for that. We must expect that good sense will prevail over the people of Bangalore city. And they will find a middle way.
करने दो.
Okay, yeah, Mohan Krishna wants to make a point to you. Mohan Krishna is appealing to you. Yes, Mohan Krishna.
Mr. Mohan Krishna,
I would like to ask a simple question as Ratan Chadha ji was asking.
And
they have enjoyed it for so many years. Now the BBMP and the High Court has given the order. Let us do it for 10 days. If Supreme Court says tomorrow, we are ready to accept the order. Why not they accept that the High Court order today and say that our brothers are performing Ganesha festival? This was started during pre-independence day by Bal Gangadhar Tilak for nationalizing the issue and making India as one. Are they not Indians today? Because we are different communities? Do you mean to say that we are different?
Okay, Shoaib Jamai. Shoaib Jamai, if they could come together pre-independence, if Indians, Hindus and Muslims could come together pre-independence, what stops us from coming together 75 years since we have been a republic?
Yes, Madhav. Absolutely. In pre-independence era, everyone knows that what is the contribution of the Muslim community and the leaders for the independent struggle, and how empty and what are their allegations.
What is this? So today there is no contribution.
Alignment with the British.
What is the point you are making? And how is it relevant to this debate?
No. RSS was not part of the freedom struggle, so they cannot claim about the pre-independence.
My dear sir,
that's for very sure.
My dear sir, we are discussing Idgah Maidan. Let's stick to the Idgah Maidan, please. Yeah, otherwise, we will have a freewheeling debate. Everybody will talk about issues that are close to their heart. Stick to Idgah Maidan, please. I've asked you a specific question in context of Idgah Maidan. Let's stick to that, please.
Yes, Madhav, please allow me. In a larger aspect, I want to request to all the clerics and the masjid community in the pan-India that start legalizing all the lands and make sure that all documents are rectified, because this is the next policy of the BJP and RSS to grab your land, make it dispute all the religious structure of the Muslims and their land. So it is very important for the Muslim community to make sure कि आप अपने सारे documents, सारी structure, सारी
does that criticism hold? Anurag Naidu, does that criticism hold at all? We're almost out of time. Quick closing comments from Anurag Naidu. Quick closing comments.
No, absolutely. When we give a platform like this on national media, the last thing that we would do is speak something like that, Madhav, because we were having a very legitimate discussion on one Maidan, and the conflicts surrounding this topic, but we cannot generalize it and use this platform to incite passion. That is something that we should all refrain, because the debate has been very logical, and let us agree and wait for the Supreme Court decision on this.
I'm sorry I have to interrupt because we are completely out of time, gentlemen. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. Mohan Krishna, Anurag Naidu, Shoaib Jamai, Tausif Ahmed, Atikur Rahman, Kamruzaman Chaudhary and Ratan Sharda. Clearly, of course, all eyes will be on the Supreme Court and which way they adjudicate on this extremely sensitive matter. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. On Sunday, we saw the Twin Towers of Noida of Supertech come down. It is a much awaited event because for the citizens of Noida, such an event perhaps is something that hasn't happened. Such a massive building coming down also had its own risks. Would there be damage to neighboring buildings? Thankfully, none of that happened. But what happens to the home buyers? And what really is now going to be seen as far as this entire case is concerned, because several of the home buyers are still talking about the fact that they have not received adequate compensation. For more on that, I have with me Mr. R.K. Arora, who is the chairman of Supertech Group. Mr. Arora, first and foremost, thank you so much for speaking to us here. Let me begin by asking you what happens now to the dozens, if not hundreds of home buyers. Some of them have come out to say that they've not received the full compensation as well. How will you address this issue, Mr. Arora?
First of all, I'll tell you the reason of the demolition of this building. Actually, this building is duly approved from the authority in 2006, and there was a पार्ट 2 पार्ट में उसको हमने प्लान किया, उसको डेवलपमेंट करने का। पहला पार्ट था 15 टावर, जो लोग हमारे इसके प्रोजेक्ट के साथ जुड़े थे। 15 टावर का कंप्लीशन किया 2009 तक और बना के लोगों को डिलीवरी कर दिया। उसके बाद 2 टावर जिसको हम ट्विन टावर कह रहे हैं, ट्विन टावर का कंस्ट्रक्शन स्टार्ट किया और ट्विन टावर के कंस्ट्रक्शन स्टार्ट करने के बाद उसके अंदर एज पर द पॉलिसी ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, एज पर द पॉलिसी ऑफ नोएडा बिल्डिंग रेगुलेशन, उसको हमने एक रिवाइज कर दिया। तो रिवाइज करा लिया एक तरह से अथॉरिटी से, अथॉरिटी के रूल के मुताबिक वी हैव मेड द पेमेंट टू द अथॉरिटी एंड वी मेड द बिल्डिंग ऑफ ट्विन टावर। बट द फ्यू ऑफ द रेजिडेंट ऑफ 15 टावर phase 1 have put some objections on it. You have not taken the consent before doing the building. So there was no such रिक्वायरमेंट, क्योंकि ऐसा कोई रिक्वायरमेंट अथॉरिटी की तरफ से नहीं था कि कंसेंट लेने की जरूरत होती थी, क्योंकि नोएडा अथॉरिटी बिल्डिंग प्लान अप्रूवल देती थी, तो उस टाइम पे कोई इस तरह का अप्रूवल नहीं था। तो उसके लिए उन्होंने हाई कोर्ट में एक पिटीशन फाइल किया और हाई कोर्ट ने ये एडवर्सली, ऑनरेबल हाई कोर्ट ने 2014 में
अगर कोर्ट ऑर्डर दे रही है, so the court has found merit, and it is not just the high court, even the Supreme Court has upheld this in its August 2021 judgment. So somewhere or the other the court has found merit in the complaint, because it is not just the fact that consent was not taken, but also the FAR was changed 3 times, the height of the building repeatedly changed 3 times or multiple times. Several such rules have also been violated, and these are very, very serious charges, because very often customers, citizens who are home buying, middle class members of the public, they are very often cheated by builders.
देखिए ऐसा नहीं होता है, मैं आपको यही कहूँगा। देखो जजमेंट है, ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट है, हम उसका सम्मान करते हुए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला कि बिल्डिंग को गिरा दो, तो हमने बिल्डिंग को गिरा दिया। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला कि बिल्डिंग को एक एक्सपर्ट एजेंसी द्वारा गिराया जाना चाहिए, वी फॉलो देयर ऑर्डर्स। उनको एक्सपर्ट एजेंसी लेके आए, उसको बिल्डिंग को सेफली डिमोलिश कराया। और उसके अलावा जो ऑर्डर्स हमको दिए गए, जैसे कि होम बायर का रिफंड है, जो आपने क्वेश्चन था कि होम बायर को रिफंड नहीं मिला है, तो आई वांट टू टेल यू एंड ऑल द फ्लैट ओनर रिलेटेड टू दिस ट्विन टावर, वी हैव सेटल्ड 95% पीपल, 95% लोगों को पैसा वापस कर दिया है, उनका इंटरेस्ट वापस कर दिया है, उनका ब्याज दे दिया है। बैलेंस फ्यूज इज देयर, जैसे जैसे हमारे पास आ रहे हैं वी आर क्लियरिंग द थिंग्स। तो एज फार एज द पेमेंट पार्ट इज कंसर्न, एज फार एज द डिमोलिशन पार्ट इज कंसर्न, ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला एक अच्छी एजेंसी लेके आओ, उसको पैसा दो। वी हैव हायर्ड ए गुड एजेंसी, जिन्होंने कल आपने देखा भी है सेफ डिमोलिशन कर दिया है और एडजॉइनिंग बिल्डिंग को कोई नुकसान भी नहीं हुआ है, उनको भी हमने पैसा दे दिया है।
लेकिन साथ में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सर ये भी कहा है
सीबीआरआई जो टेक्निकल एक्सपर्टाइज होगी उनको भी आपने पैसा देना। हमने
जी I'm just interrupting you because आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट की बात कर रहे हैं और मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर से मैं बस एक लाइन पढ़ना चाहूंगा। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है दिस केस रिवील्स एंड आई एम कोटिंग अ नेफेरियस कंप्लिसिटी ऑफ द प्लानिंग अथॉरिटी इन द वायलेशन बाय द डेवलपर ऑफ द प्रोविजंस ऑफ लॉ। उन्होंने ये भी कहा है इट वाज रिप्लीट विद इंस्टेंसेस विच हाईलाइट कल्यूजन बिटवीन द ऑफिसर्स ऑफ नोएडा विद सुपरटेक एंड इट्स मैनेजमेंट। दीज आर द सुप्रीम कोर्ट्स वर्ड्स सर, एंड दिस इज वेरी वेरी हार्श स्टिंगिंग इंडाइटमेंट ऑफ योर कंपनी and also of the Noida authority.
देखिए जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने, माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो बोला है, हम उसको ऑनर कर रहे हैं, उनके आदेश का पालन कर रहे हैं। बट मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा आज आपके चैनल में अपनी सभी ग्राहकों को, मीडिया को, कि वी डिड नॉट डू एनी वायलेशन एट ऑल। बिल्डिंग एज पर रूल बनी है, एज पर अप्रूव्ड प्लान बनी थी, उसके अंदर कोई भी वायलेशन नहीं हुआ था। और उसके अंदर नोएडा अथॉरिटी ने एफिडेविट दिया था कि बिल्डिंग का जो कंस्ट्रक्शन है एज पर दी अप्रूव्ड प्लान है और प्लान इज अप्रूव्ड बाय लॉ।
गलत है ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है। साथ में क्या ये सही नहीं है कि ग्रीन बेल्ट के ऊपर कंस्ट्रक्शन की गई, जो गैप होनी चाहिए बिल्डिंग्स के बीच में 30 मीटर से ज्यादा की गैप होनी चाहिए, 9 मीटर की गैप दिख रही है यहाँ पर, तो ये सब तो क्लियर वायलेशंस दिख रहे हैं अरोरा साहब।
नहीं, मैं इसका भी एक्सप्लेन देता हूं टेक्निकली। देखिए क्या होता है, जैसे मैं अभी बता रहा था कि पहले 15 टावर को बनाया गया, 15 टावर के लिए जो ग्रीन की रिक्वायरमेंट थी वो पूरी की गई और 15 टावर को उनको हैंडओवर किया गया विद देयर ग्रीन। तो जो बैलेंस पोर्शन था जिसके ऊपर ट्विन टावर था वो ग्रीन नहीं था, एक्चुअली उसको गलत इंटरप्रिटेशन किया गया और एक तरह से जो वहाँ के जो 15 टावर के लोग थे उनको अच्छी तरह से मालूम था कि ये फ्यूचर एक्सपेंशन है, इट इज नॉट मेंट फॉर द ग्रीन। तो वो उसको उन्होंने गलत इंटरप्रिटेशन दिखाते हुए कि जी यहाँ पर ग्रीन होगा, नॉट एट ऑल, दिस वाज नॉट एट ऑल। तो उसके ऊपर कोई ग्रीन का कोई वायलेशन नहीं था। जहाँ तक डिस्टेंस का सवाल है, डिस्टेंस का सवाल मैं आपको क्लैरिटी दे देता हूँ कि जब हम बिल्डिंग पास कराते हैं तो हमको फायर का एनओसी लेना पड़ता है फायर डिपार्टमेंट से। फायर डिपार्टमेंट के लिए जो डिस्टेंस का मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट है वो 6 मीटर है, तो 6 मीटर की बजाय हमारा डिस्टेंस था वह 9.8 मीटर। तो 9.8 मीटर डिस्टेंस था। एक्चुअली द डिस्टेंस क्यों चाहिए होता है, एक फायर टेंडर मूवमेंट के लिए चाहिए होता है एंड इट वाज क्लियरली मेंशन्ड इन द रेगुलेशन ऑफ द फायर डिपार्टमेंट कि 6 मीटर इज रिक्वायर्ड। एंड द मॉडल बिल्डिंग बायलॉज आज जो पूरे हिंदुस्तान में लागू है, पूरे इंडिया में लागू है, वो 6 मीटर की बात करता है। हम लोगों का जो डिस्टेंस था वो 9 मीटर था, 9.8 मीटर था। एंड आई विल टेल यू मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग कि नोएडा के अंदर जो बिल्डिंग बनी है 2009 से लेकर 2014 तक इसी रेगुलेशन के तहत बनी है, विदाउट कंसेंट बनी है।
की बात कर रहे हैं, ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है वायलेशन के बारे में।
प्रोविजन है
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कहना है कि when these regulations are brazenly violated by developers more often than not with a connivance by regulatory authorities, it strikes at the very core of urban planning and thereby directly resulting in an increased harm to the environment and dilution of safety standards। तो यानी ये कहना कि कोई वायलेशन नहीं हुई है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी पाया है कि इसमें वायलेशन है और साथ ही साथ आपके कंपनी के साथ साथ नोएडा अथॉरिटी में भी कहीं ना कहीं वायलेशंस पाए। और आपको भी पता है यूपी गवर्नमेंट ने जो एक्शन लिया था फॉलोइंग द सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑर्डर, दे हैव टेकन एक्शन ऑन ऑफिशियल्स। तो आप कैसे कह सकते हैं कि कहीं वायलेशन नहीं हुई है सर, जब सरकारें और कोर्ट्स और सब एक्शन ले रहे हैं इस पूरे मामले को लेकर?
देखो सर, ऐसा है कि जहां तक वायलेशन का सवाल है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेशों का हम सम्मान करते हैं। जहां तक सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जो कमेंट्स हैं, वी रेस्पेक्ट दीज थिंग्स, बट वी एज ए डेवलपर, हम लोग पिछले 40 सालों से काम कर रहे हैं। वी नेवर वायलेटेड एनी टर्म्स ऑफ द सैंक्शंस, वी नेवर वायलेटेड एनी बिल्डिंग बायलॉज, वी नेवर वायलेटेड द रूल्स एट ऑल। जितनी बिल्डिंग बनी है आज और जो बन रही हैं, नॉट ओनली द नोएडा, पूरे हिंदुस्तान के अंदर द सेम बायलॉज के हिसाब से बिल्डिंग बनती है, उसमें कोई भी इसमें चेंज नहीं है। आज मॉडल बिल्डिंग बायलॉज जो पूरे हिंदुस्तान में लागू है वो आज नोएडा में भी लागू है, आज वो बम्बई में लागू है, आज वो बेंगलुरु में भी लागू है, आज वो हर स्टेट में लागू है। तो जहाँ तक उसका सवाल है कि रूल्स क्या हैं, तो हम रूल्स के मुताबिक काम करते आ रहे हैं और उसके हिसाब से हम लोगों को डिलीवरी कर रहे हैं, उसके हिसाब से मकानों का निर्माण कर रहे हैं, उसी के हिसाब से कंस्ट्रक्शन कर रहे हैं। तो मैं समझता हूं कि वी आर द रूल अबाइडिंग कंपनी एंड वी आर फॉलोइंग द रूल्स।
सर, आपने कहा कि यू आर नॉट बाउंड टू एनी टर्म्स ऑफ एग्रीमेंट। इस पे कोर्ट का ये कहना था दैट बाय सबमिटिंग बिफोर दिस कोर्ट दैट इट इज नॉट बाउंड बाय द टर्म्स ऑफ एग्रीमेंट और द एक्ट फॉर वांट ऑफ अ डिक्लेरेशन अंडर सेक्शन 2 द एपेलेंट इज एविडेंटली अटेम्प्टिंग टू टेक एडवांटेज ऑफ इट्स रॉन्ग। तो आपने गलत किया है और उसका गलत फायदा उठाने की कोशिश कहा है कोर्ट ने।
देखिए सर, जैसे कि मैंने अभी बताया कि जहां अपार्टमेंट एक्ट के जिस ग्राउंड के ऊपर बिल्डिंग को तोड़ने का आदेश किया गया है, वो अपार्टमेंट एक्ट एक डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी एडॉप्ट करती है। मतलब अगर आप एज ए होम बायर, अगर आपको कोई मकान बनाना है, सपोज मैं आपके ऊपर ही जाता हूँ, आपको एक मकान बनाना है आपने नोएडा के अंदर या कहीं दूसरे स्टेट में, तो आप अपना बिल्डिंग प्लान सैंक्शन कराएंगे अथॉरिटी उसको सैंक्शन करके देगी। अगर अथॉरिटी ने कुछ रूल्स को एडॉप्ट ही नहीं कर रखा हो तो उसमें तो आपका कोई फॉल्ट नहीं हो सकता ना, या किसी आम बायर का कोई फॉल्ट नहीं हो सकता, या किसी डेवलपर का कोई फॉल्ट नहीं हो सकता।
लेकिन आपने
एंड वो रूल केवल आपके लिए,
ये भी तो आरोप है कि हाइट बार-बार आपने बढ़ाई है, एफआईआर बार-बार बढ़ाई है। इज इट नॉट अ फैक्ट दैट यू हैव चेंज्ड योर एफआईआर रिपीटेडली?
उसका भी मैं आपको जस्टिफिकेशन देता हूं। बिल्डिंग रूल के मुताबिक अगर हम प्रोजेक्ट की डेवलपमेंट फेज में करना चाहते हैं तो वी आर परमिसिबल। सपोज हमने एक इनिशियली 15 टावर का अप्रूवल लिया और 15 टावर बना के हमने लोगों को हैंडओवर कर दिए। अब नाउ ट्विन टावर जिसकी आप हाइट बढ़ाने की बात कर रहे हैं, इनिशियली इट वाज अप्रूव्ड फॉर 11 story, later on this was increased 24 and later on lastly 40 story। उसके अंदर क्या होता है सर कि हम लोग जब बिल्डिंग प्लान को पास कराते हैं तो हमें रिक्वायर्ड फीस, जो FAR की फीस होती है, परचेजेबल FAR एज पर द पॉलिसी ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, वो पे करनी होती है। अगर हम उसको फेस में ले रहे हैं तो जितना हम लेंगे उतना बनाएंगे। मैं सपोज करो 10 मंजिल का FAR लेता हूं सरकार से, आफ्टर मेकिंग देयर पेमेंट, तो मैं 10 मंजिल बना सकता हूं। अगर मैं 40 मंजिल का लेता हूं तो 40 मंजिल बना सकता हूं। तो मैं आपको यह बताना चाहता हूं कि जो मैंने 40 मंजिल का FAR का कॉस्ट जो लगभग 25 करोड़ था, उसको 2012 तक फेज में जमा कर दिया
प्रॉब्लम सर, बिकॉज यू आर ट्रीटिंग देन द इनिशियल ऑक्यूपेंट्स को, जो पहले से पहली बिल्डिंग में आए थे, उनको तो आपने कुछ और पिक्चर सामने रखी थी। जब आपको परमिशन मिलती रही, आप जिस वजह से भी FIR बढ़ाते गए, तभी तो आपको लेके गए हैं कोर्ट में, क्योंकि दिस इज व्हाट इज टिपिकली सीन। कई बिल्डर्स, तो आपकी केस नहीं कह रहा हूं, लेकिन कई ऐसे बिल्डर्स हैं जो ऑल्ट्रेशंस कर देते हैं प्लान्स में, नया टावर बना देते हैं। इस तरह की चीजें आम जनता फेस करती है और इसी वजह से लोग, बहुत सारे लोग इस पूरे मामले को इतने क्लोजली फॉलो कर रहे हैं, because this is what the common man goes through, and in your case clearly the courts have also found that there is merit in that।
इसमें मैं बस यही कहना चाहूंगा आपको कि जो 15 टावर के लोग हमारे खिलाफ कोर्ट में गए थे, उनके कॉमन एरिया में, उनके ग्रीन में, उनकी फैसिलिटी में हमने कोई बदलाव नहीं किया था। वो जो चेंज हो रहे थे वो ट्विन टावर में हो रहे थे, वो चेंज जो है उनके 15 टावर में नहीं हो रहे थे। अगर उनको कोई ऑब्जेक्शन होता तो उनकी अपनी बिल्डिंग के अंदर कोई चेंज होता तो उनको ऑब्जेक्शन हो सकता था। इट वाज, मतलब मैं तो यही कहूँगा, इट वाज अनफॉर्चुनेट फॉर अस कि हम अपने चीज़ों को सही तरह से एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर पाए, किसी तरह से सही तरह से फैक्ट नहीं रख पाए, या नोएडा अथॉरिटी जिसने प्लान अप्रूव किया था उसने अपनी सही तरह से कोर्ट के सामने नहीं रखी। दैट्स व्हाई वी गॉट दिस ऑर्डर एंड एज पर द ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट वी आर फॉलोइंग द ऑर्डर।
Right. And also, Mr. Arora, before I sign off, about 500 crores is the loss that you have stated in the media that your company has faced owing to this project. Now, that is, of course, a huge amount of labor, time, effort, and even those who are perhaps would have got delivery of the flats have not been able to do so because of a number of reasons. But the fact is that, is this demolition now going to impact the delivery of your other flats and other projects? Because there too, the home buyers certainly would be very concerned now.
Okay. I'll explain the things. You see, हम लोग पिछले 40 सालों से इस बिजनेस के अंदर काम कर रहे हैं और लगभग 70,000 मकान पिछले 40 सालों में डिलीवरी किए हैं, और वो 70,000 मकान लोगों के ट्रस्ट है, लोगों का विश्वास है, इसी वजह से हम लोग डिलीवर कर पाए हैं। तो मैं आज बाकी सब बैलेंस जो हमारे घर हैं, लगभग 20,000 घर हैं, तो मैं अपने सभी होम बायर को एक मैसेज देना चाहता हूं कि सभी प्रोजेक्ट के ऊपर काम चालू है। कोई भी प्रोजेक्ट इस डिमोलिशन की वजह से कोई इंपैक्ट नहीं हो रहा है। ऑल प्रोजेक्ट इज गोइंग ऑन एंड वी विल कंप्लीट। जो शेड्यूल टाइम है हमारा, उस शेड्यूल टाइम में हम पूरा करेंगे। जो हमने लगभग 2 साल का टाइम दे रखा है, जो अभी हमारे ऑनगोइंग प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, लगभग 70 to 80% कंप्लीट हो चुके हैं, और वी विल कंप्लीट दिस प्रोजेक्ट इन टाइम। जहां तक लॉस का सवाल है, लॉस इज देयर, बट इस लॉस की वजह से हमारे दूसरे प्रोजेक्ट के ऊपर कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं होगा। कोई जो है डिलीवरी के ऊपर कोई इसके ऊपर कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं आएगा, और सारे प्रोजेक्ट टाइमली पूरे करे जाएंगे।
लास्ट क्वेश्चन मिस्टर अरोरा, इस पूरे एपिसोड के बाद क्या कुछ सीख मिलती है, ना सिर्फ आपकी कंपनी को लेकिन सारे प्रॉपर्टी डेवलपर्स नोएडा के?
देखिए सर, इसमें मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा कि हम लोग रूल अबाइडिंग कंपनी है, और एक इंडस्ट्री जो रियल एस्टेट इंडस्ट्री है, एक बहुत बड़ी एक ऐसी इंडस्ट्री है जो हमारी जीडीपी के अंदर लगभग 7 से 8% का एक कंट्रीब्यूशन इसके अंदर देती है, और लगभग 250 इंडस्ट्री, 250 इंडस्ट्री इस इंडस्ट्री के एक तरह से साथ में जुड़ के काम करती हैं। लाइक सीमेंट हो गया, कंक्रीट हो गया, मतलब नेल्स हो गई, कंक्रीट हो गई, सैंड हो गया, स्टोन, बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्री हैं इसके साथ साथ जुड़ के काम करती है। और एक बहुत बड़ा सेक्टर मतलब मैं कहूँगा कि एग्रीकल्चर के बाद दूसरा एक सबसे बड़ा सेक्टर ये रियल एस्टेट इंडस्ट्री है, जो ऐसे लोगों को रोजगार दे रही है जिन लोगों को एक दूसरा जगह काम नहीं मिल सकता। इतनी अनस्किल्ड मैन पावर, इतने अनस्किल्ड मैन पावर और माइग्रेंट वर्कर को ये इंडस्ट्री काम देती है। तो इस इंडस्ट्री का सेफगार्ड करना बहुत जरूरी है। तो उसके लिए एक ट्रांसपेरेंसी हम अपने होम बायर के प्रति वो ट्रांसपेरेंसी रखें, और साथ साथ जो एक तरह से इसके ऊपर एक क्वेश्चन मार्क लग गया है कि किसी भी अप्रूव्ड प्रोजेक्ट को इस तरह से गिरा दिया जाता है, तो एक बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क है। क्योंकि डेफिनेटली किसी ना किसी प्रोजेक्ट में कोई ना कोई बैंक सपोर्ट करता है, कोई ना कोई फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट करती है, तो एक ट्रस्ट लेवल जरूर डेफिसिट हुआ है। तो वी हैव टू ट्राई टू इम्प्रूव द ट्रस्ट लेवल ऑफ द होम बायर as well as the industry.
Well, that may be true, sir, but many would say that despite the fact that you are one of the biggest employers, that certainly cannot in any way justify violations that are being alleged and are being seen on ground. Mr. R.K. Arora, we certainly hope that the home buyers, the 5% that you claim have not been paid, get their compensation at the earliest. The Supreme Court also has eyes on it. But thank you for taking the time out and speaking to us about the trials of all the home buyers and also the lessons learned from this entire episode. Thank you so much for joining us.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.
Ghulam Nabi Azad takes jibe at Rahul Gandhi's hug to Prime Minister Modi in Parliament, says it's not me who is entangled with Modi, it is him. 3 more Congress leaders, including former Deputy Speaker Ghulam Haider Malik, announced their resignation from the party in support of Azad. In a latest development in Sonali Phogat death mystery, Goa CM Pramod Sawant said that all accused in the case have been arrested. A special court has dismissed the bail petition of former NSE CEO Chitra Ramakrishna in connection with phone tapping and money laundering case. Ahead of hearing in Teesta bail plea, Gujarat government has opposed the plea and filed an affidavit in the Supreme Court.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.
Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee announces 2-day dharna in Kolkata in support of Bilkis Bano. BJP MP Rama Devi slams the family of Tejashwi Yadav for allegedly orchestrating the murder of her husband Brij Bihari Prasad. Supreme Court issues notice to Karnataka government on a plea seeking stay on Karnataka High Court order upholding the hijab ban. Next hearing is on September 5. Amid the ongoing fight between the Uddhav and Shinde Sena over the Dussehra rally in Shivaji Park, Uddhav Thackeray says he will take part in the rally. 2 people arrested from Assam's Barpeta district for allegedly indulging in jihadi activities. The arrested had links to Al-Qaeda.
Internet has been suspended for the next 5 days in Manipur, and also Section 144 has been imposed in parts of the state. The tribal bodies have called for an economic blockade, and this has escalated. The protests have escalated on Saturday when there were reports of vandalism and arson, and a car was also vandalized by protesters in the Bishnupur area.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching News Now Overnight with me, Priya Behel, your one-stop shop for everything that you need to know about that happened through the course of the day in long and short. First up, the top 50. BJP ups the ante against Aam Aadmi Party government, stages massive protest against all alleged scams related to Kejriwal's party. BJP spokesperson Gaurav Bhatia slams Aam Aadmi Party over alleged classroom scam, says selective contractors were given tenders. Delhi BJP President Adesh Gupta, while slamming the Aam Aadmi